Are you sick in the mind? Are you sick in the mind? Are you that mental?
Oh, hi everybody and welcome.
Dude, make up your mind, man.
This is the Apostate Prophet. I hope you're having a fantastic day. What's up? How you doing? David,
Yeah.
what's up? How you doing?
I don't know. Would you wake up on the annoy everyone's side of the bed?
Why? Why are you saying that?
You're like, oh, let me play 27 different things. And then you were like messing with all the stuff, inserting hijab clips into the perfectly good song and stuff.
I wasn't doing that at all. I wasn't doing that at all. I don't know what you're talking about. I was experimenting earlier with possibly like adding the "Are you sick in the mind" thing to a song, and I was thinking of different examples, such as my intro song. I thought it could be a perfect move to do that. You know, it could be a perfect move to do that. You see, it could be a perfect move to do that. I was kind of playing around with that, and I thought, you know what? You know, the world needs more. The world needs more music. The world needs more music. The world needs more Islamic music, especially because there is not enough Islamic music. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You know what I'm talking about?
That's true.
So I was kind of experimenting here while getting ready for such as this.
You sick in the mind? You sick in the mind?
Something like that.
No, you need to give more details.
You sick in the mind?
We're already almost 10 minutes.
You sick in the mind?
Sorry, what? Go on. What?
I said we were already tell the full story. We're almost 10 minutes late already, and you're sitting here. What happens if I put the Muhammad hijab thing in there and then make it sound good? Huh?
I don't know. Yeah, it was a terrible attempt, but I have to say. But anyway, this is not the topic of this video, and this is not what we should be wasting time with. This is a serious conversation. Today we want to talk about a genocide that took place several days ago. On September the 18th, or about 3 days ago, a genocide took place where two genocidal actors, such as Candace Owens and Cenk, came together to commit ethnic cleansing on the former IDF spokesman, Jonathan Conricus.
Wait, they ganged up on the Jew?
Yeah, both of them, they ganged up on the Jew. Yeah, that's what they do.
Wow.
That's what they do. However, despite their attempts to once again try to take out the Jews, the Jew was unfazed and unshaken by this attempt, by this very, very poor attempt. Just to quickly have an overview, though, into who we're talking about. So Jonathan Conricus is a Swedish-Israeli retired lieutenant colonel in the Israeli Defense Forces. He was a spokesperson from 2017 to 2021. However, when the war started, the current war, when it started in October 2023, he was called back to be the international spokesman for the IDF temporarily, and he actually did that for 3 months, and was very much the face of the operations in the beginning after October 7. And he was doing a very, very good job. The guy is a great speaker, has a lot of confidence.
There's no way he's a good speaker, man. He's Swedish. They have the dumbest accent in the world. Everything's like It's like, hey, what's for breakfast? Mark, crunchy yours. It's like they all sound like that. Anyway, sorry.
Not this guy. He's a good speaker, and he's also, as you can see, he's also qualified to be a Chad, as they say nowadays. The guy could kill you with his jaw. Look at that. He could literally kill you with his jaw. He could take you out with his jaw. That's how tough.
That is a pretty powerful jaw, almost as powerful as Cenk Uyghur's jaw.
Anyway, so we wanted to look at this discussion where
hang on. I'm still sending out this link.
Candace Owens. The funny thing about this whole thing is that Candace Owens and Cenk were apparently fighting earlier in this conversation, and
wait, hold on. Let me make a prediction. They're fighting and disagreeing over everything until the topic of the Jew in the room comes up, and then they are united in full harmony with each other.
That's, of course, a very big coincidence. That's a very big coincidence. Of course, that's what it is. Cenk Uyghur, apparently, he started sweating 5 minutes into the conversation. I don't know how that works with him. The guy has really strange body here. But yeah, he was already yelling. He was being a little bit weird. I saw clips of that part. However, I didn't care very much about this discussion between them. So then they talk about Kamala, but I was more interested in listening to the IDF spokesman, former IDF spokesman, Jonathan Conricus, and what Cenk and Candace say about him.
Uyghur. Cenk.
Ew.
He doesn't have an H in there?
No.
Huh. Okay.
It's Uyghur. The proper pronunciation is Uyghur.
I'm just saying, spell check keeps trying to, on Twitter, he keeps trying to, I'm trying to send out the link here, and it keeps trying to spell check me and add an H.
Uyghur.
We're live. Learn how to spell your name, Cenk. We're live discussing the Candace Owens, Cenk, team up.
Some people mistakenly say Yuga, but that's not how it is. It's actually Uyghur.
Some people pronounce it yogurt, and they call him yogurt.
Chunky yogurt.
We're live discussing the Candace Owens, Cenk Uyghur team up against Jews. Okay, that'll work.
Ooh, brother Uyghur. Cenk Uyghur. Chunk yogurt. This is very disrespectful. Yes, alhamdulillah. Are we ready?
Yeah. I got it all. I got the link all set out.
Okay, you better be ready, because
that's my nickname. They call me Be Ready. It's my rap name. Be Red.
It's interesting.
You're sitting there watching Netflix.
My sound is a little bit off these days. I don't know why.
Lebanon. I'm joined in the studio by the former IDF spokesman, Jonathan Conricus. We'll still have Candace Owens with, and hopefully we'll get Cenk Uyghur back.
Did you say Jonathan?
Yeah.
More like Jonathan. That was the dumbest thing I've said so far today.
It was pretty good.
Beamed just now. No conspiracy theories here. We think he just lost connection. Jonathan, presumably Israel did this.
Who did he say lost connection?
Yes, I would say that is very...
Did Cenk Uyghur?
He was beamed just now. And Conricus, we'll still have Candace Owens with, and hopefully we'll get Cenk Uyghur back from wherever he was beamed just now.
Wait a minute. This guy who does shows all day, every day, suddenly he doesn't get an internet connection. Come on. He saw that jaw.
Well, maybe he had to poop his pants or something. I don't know. He had to quickly run off. I don't know. You never know.
He's here. We think he just lost connection. Jonathan,
he lost connection
Israel
a long
did
time
this.
ago to
Presumably,
reality.
yes. I would say that is very reasonable to assess.
And it is one of the more outlandish things that I've ever seen executed.
This is so funny. They're talking about the operation of blowing up the pagers in the in Lebanon. He says presumably Israel did this, and Jonathan Conricus just says presumably yes.
Very reasonable.
But the world may never know.
Two theories here. We think he just lost connection. Jonathan, presumably Israel did this.
Presumably, yes. I would say that is very reasonable.
It is one of the more outlandish.
That is very reasonable to presume.
Israel still hasn't made to this day any official statement on the pagers and walkie-talkies. International law, mysterious, but yep, they still haven't made a single. The IDF has still not made a single statement about it. Israeli government has still not made a single statement about it, except they said that that they have taken the fight at the northern front with Hezbollah to a new and different level. And the operation against Hezbollah, because of their refusal to stand down and to stop attacking, will now be intensified. And they're doing some meetings. There was an extraordinary meeting which they actually had on Friday night during the Sabbath time, which is very unusual that they would do that. It gives people the idea that there is an important meeting is happening, something that cannot wait regarding military operations and so on. So that's that.
Outlandish things that I've ever seen executed. I mean, just purely from an operational point of view, staggeringly successful. They seem to have infiltrated these new devices that were being handed to Hezbollah at the instigation of their leadership, because they thought mobile phones, ironically, were more dangerous.
Would seem that way, presumably.
They had
Yes.
pages which all simultaneously were triggered and
Yes.
went off. And
Hypothetically, yes.
many people have been wounded and so on. Today it's carried on in another phase. You're even seeing apparently solar panels on people's homes have been apparently exploding. You're also seeing other electronic devices exploding with people. It appears to have been very targeted, but as with all these things, a lot of innocent people are getting caught up in it too.
You know, there are
Oh man.
You know, who's standing 1 foot away from Hezbollah terrorist who's just completely clean?
I have never seen this guy fail to respond to these the general questions that people have about. But what about innocent civilians? And this guy has generally given a very, very good response and assessment to that. And let's see what happens here. This is I was a little bit ranting about this yesterday, but it's just funny how pathetic and how ironic it is that so Israel is fighting with Lebanon, not Lebanon. Israel is fighting with Hezbollah in the north at the border. Hezbollah keeps firing missiles indiscriminately and unguidedly into civilian territories, which is why Israel ends up putting significant resources into relocating the population that is at the northern border to different places. So the people who live there cannot live there anymore because of the constant missiles by Hezbollah. And then Israel finally starts doing significant operations and targets the terrorists. Of course, there are civilian casualties. There always are in every single conflict, every single war. But mostly targets Hezbollah targets. And also some civilians get hurt. And then immediately the narrative is, well, what about the civilians? What about the civilians? Like Israel just did this, for no reason. Like they could have just not done any of these operations, could have just moved on with their lives, but they just so badly wanted to do this.
And you have to say, but what about the civilians of these folks? Guys, you had what, 11 months to tell Hezbollah to stop?
Yeah.
You had 11 months to tell them stop freaking launching these bombs, and the moment Israel retaliates, oh my goodness, what about the children? The children.
What's funny is we should probably at some point go through how the operation unfolded. I'm not sure if he's going to explain it in detail, but so what happened is that Israel, long before this happened, set up the Mossad, or Israeli intelligence in general, set up a shell corporation and several people in charge of that corporation in Hungary and other parts of Europe who were distributing devices and building basically this whole reliability in order to find customers such as these terrorist customers that would think, oh, that company is reliable. They make good devices. They ship good devices. Let's order some from them. So they had a huge plan, and they pitched their products here and there until they finally got the opportunity to for Hezbollah to order devices from them, thinking, this provider, they make very good devices. Let us
Yes.
order 5,000
At
pages
good,
from
at good
them.
price. At good price.
Good, very good price.
They are
Alhamdulillah.
sympathetic to our cause. Must be sympathetic to our cause against Jews.
I think they love us. Shukran, ya habibi. So they ordered a bunch of pagers, and the Israeli intelligence immediately sees we got them. So
Don't worry, we'll deliver these for you.
they manipulate those
Well,
specifically.
hey, you guys traveled all the way from Taiwan. We'll take it from here. We'll take it the rest of the way for you. Just give them to us. We'll drop them off. We'll drop them off right there for you. We'll drop them off right outside Hezbollah headquarters for you. Oh, that's
So
that's very nice. You're saving us some costs on shipping. Thank you.
So they prepare those devices specifically, these devices specifically for that certain order that goes to Hezbollah, and manipulate them, install explosives next to the battery on with such a size that it wouldn't cause suspicion and also wouldn't cause too much damage or too big of an explosion, but would only harm the immediate user.
Pretty rough
or
too,
whoever
right?
holds it. Yeah.
Like, hey, my new pager. Why this thing weigh 5 pounds? It's a little heavy. Something seems off here. You got it. Nope. 2 ounces. 2 ounces.
So they had all the pagers shipped. Of course, nothing was detected. Hezbollah received all of them and was like, okay, now distribute all of this to all our members.
Oh,
and
yes.
Tell them no more smartphone using.
Yes, now we have outsmarted these Jews. Now we
No
have
more smartphone. Now use this pager so that
Yes.
Israel doesn't know where we are.
Yes, we have communication system from 1990. Very advanced technology from 1990.
And apparently, the narrative goes that Israel didn't actually plan on having them explode at this moment, but apparently, as far as I am aware, still need to verify all of the details that are coming out. Apparently, there were hints that the plan was about to unravel or be exposed, so they decided to move forward and to explode all of the pages at the same time. And what happened is that they sent a message out. All pagers in that bulk receive that message, and then a few seconds later, boom.
Boom, 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 boom.
Pretty good. And then the next day, Hezbollah, of course, is like, but they exploded our pagers. From now on, don't use pagers. So throw away all of the pagers, but keep your walkie-talkies. And then next day, the walkie-talkies explode.
And then they're like, look, what we do is we get 2 cups. We put string between the cups, and then we...
So anyway, that's what happened. Alhamdulillah. And the operation was quite good. Killed quite a bit of Hezbollah members and injured many others. Of course, there were civilian casualties. There always are. Stop crying. This is not something that Israel just did for no reason. It's something that they did because Hezbollah kept firing and wouldn't stop. If you are sad about the results, go cry about it.
Come on, AP. Be realistic here. It's not like there were civilian casualties in 9/11 or the 7/7 bombings or
No.
World War I or World War II or the Civil War. There were no civilian casualties.
No, not a single
Just
person.
soldiers.
Yeah. Not a single person. Plus, the difference is there are these people who praise October 7. On October 7, the terrorists went from house to house and directly shot point blank at civilians, captured them, tortured them. We have videos where they are filming it themselves with their GoPros, going from house to house, shooting at the first sign of a human being in their home. And people who celebrate that are complaining about this precision operation. Give me a break. terrorist supporters. Anyway, no reason to get mad now. Let's continue.
Conversations that you and I have made, and I'm sure that we will have, about innocent people getting caught up in the unfortunate situation of war and warfare, where Israel is defending itself against terrorist armies, Iranian proxies around it, which I think we should mention have been attacked.
Ali Daka says, show us the videos. Do you mean the videos of Hamas killing people? I made live streams about that and have shown many of them. I don't want to show them again now because they usually lead to the live stream being in one way or another throttled, demonetized, or not I don't care about the demonetization aspect, but hidden, age-restricted, censored, which then severely decreases the reach of this stream, which defeats the entire purpose of having a live stream. So if you want to go and check it out, go to our past live streams. You can find them very easily. Of Hamas atrocities caught on camera, and you can watch them all. And if you haven't seen it so far, but you presume to speak on these issues, but you haven't even seen the basic footage of terrorist Islamist Palestinian bastards going around and shooting at civilians and killing them, then you have a problem, man.
Yeah. Seems like he was just trying to get your stuff shut down. Nice try, Ali Daka, aka Ali Dawa's burner account.
Oh, but I'll give you one suggestion, Ali Daka. You can always go on the following websites. Hamas Massacre here. Hamas-massacre.net. Everything is found there. You can go on HamasIsIsis.com, I think. You can find it there. And you can go on 10/7 or 710th.org. No, not 710th. Did that change? Huh. I forgot what the website was. I haven't visited it in a while. There are lots of places where you can look this up, but here's one of those. If you deny that these things happened, then how about this? No innocent civilian died in Gaza. Cry about it.
Attacking Israel for almost a year, firing rockets at our civilians and abducting our people. And I think that most of the time we could have a debate about how many are wounded. In this case, I don't think that you have any better example in modern warfare of a more surgical and precise attack against combatants and combatants only. And frankly, I find it amazing. I've been answering people on X for the last few hours since I tweeted about it, claiming that this was not a surgical and not an attack that affected civilians. And I think it's ridiculous.
Well, because you are seeing civilians caught up in it. They are getting hit.
Relatively speaking to the amount of enemy combatants.
But it would be illegal if civilians were getting booby-trapped in this operation. That is actually illegal.
They were not getting booby-trapped. That's the point, Pierce.
Yeah. And to be clear, would it have been illegal if the IDF had been going around torturing babies for fun? That would have been illegal if that had happened, would it not?
Gosh.
Just want to verify, hypothetically, if this had been the situation instead of the actual situation, that would have been illegal. Thank you, Pierce. Very insightful.
Very good point. Thank you, Pierce. Nobody had any idea about this.
You can't booby-trap devices where civilians may get killed.
If they had been booby-trapping babies' pacifiers, for instance, and babies had been sucking on the pacifiers and their faces had been blown up. To be clear, if Israel had done that, that would have been illegal, would it not?
Yeah, absolutely. Remember what we saw when we went to Israel and we went to the kibbutz Kisufim. We went to one of those homes that were severely shot and destroyed by Hamas terrorists, and the whole house, outside and inside, was full of bullet holes, including at the door of the kids' room, and so on. Remember, David.
I remember the Rubik's Cube.
We went to this place where which was brutally destroyed. The bed directly shot. I took a long video, I think, from the kids' bedroom and the other bedrooms, which I don't want to put on here at this moment. We should compile all of these at some point.
the devices, as you said, they were bought by Hezbollah and they were delivered to Hezbollah personnel, and not just rank and file people. They were delivered to Hezbollah personnel who needed to be on call and have access to information that is pushed from headquarters. And they are people of military importance. In legal speak, that's military necessity. These are people that
What
are
would you have
part
said if
of-
they'd done it to Israel?
If they would have done it, if they would have targeted military personnel, fair game.
Really?
Of course.
Whoa.
we target-
And if Israeli civilians were caught up in it, women and children as well?
That isn't really the case. You know, there's one reported unfortunate casualty, and I really don't think that is the heart of the matter. When you look at
Two
more than
children,
300,
we're told,
when
so
you,
far.
when you
2 children. Pierce, you're pushing on 2 children. 2 children.
AP
Do you want to
says-
calculate the ratio here?
AP says 2 children don't matter.
2 children. Yes, very, very unfortunate. 2 children. Okay, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. However, civilian casualties are always part of military operations. They are not very much avoidable, which is why in international law it is forbidden to deliberately target civilians. And what is demanded by the principle of proportionality is to minimize civilian casualties as much as possible. Minimize them as much as possible. So you may target military targets, and it is understandable that civilians will be harmed as part of those operations, but you have to make sure that the harm to civilians is minimal, and that the benefit in carrying out this operation, as in crippling or harming the enemy, overweighs the harm that is done to civilians significantly, and so on. That's what it is. Everybody knows that there will be civilian casualties. The only people crying about this and using this for propaganda happen to be the enemies of Israel.
You look at more than 3,000 Hezbollah operatives that have been affected. There's reports of a lot of IRGC officers in eastern Syria as well, still unconfirmed, so I'm holding on that. But when you look about the total number, the amount of Hezbollah personnel killed or wounded, and the adverse effects of 1 or 2 people that sadly were also close enough, apparently, not been verified by anybody, but claimed by Hezbollah. And I think we should say that as well.
This guy's
hasn't
good,
been
man.
verified by anybody who isn't Hezbollah. And at the end
This
of the
guy's
day,
good.
this is as surgery.
I know. Which is why Israel said, "Hey, come back."
No, I mean, how he I don't know what his background is, but he sounds like he would have been a champion debater. It's okay. So you're saying this, and here's here's a problem, and here's another problem, and here's another problem, and here's another problem, and here's another problem with what you said, and here's another problem with what you said, and
Yeah. So somebody give me the numbers. I had them here, but so we have a total of 39 deaths and over 3,000 injured. 3,000 injured. According to Hezbollah themselves, the majority of those killed were active Hezbollah members, and they have on the first day specifically mentioned that two children also died as a result of this, because they were in proximity of the pagers that were used by the terrorists. However, 39 people in total died, of whom, according to Hezbollah themselves, the majority are Hezbollah members, which would mean that this is a positive, militant to civilian death ratio, which would mean this is, by any standard, not at all a bad operation. It is, in fact, much better than the vast majority of military operations that happen in human history.
And I mean, he actually just ran through them. You didn't even kill a lot of Hezbollah guys, right? It's like a massive warning. We killed some of your guys. We injured a ton. But take the freaking warning what we're capable of when we're coming after you. The point here is, however you would have done that, any military plan on the planet to go and respond to Hezbollah, the most obvious would be bomb the crap out of them. That would have been the most obvious strategy. But that is also what's going to give you the highest numbers of civilian casualties. More surgical would be to send in soldiers. But if you send in soldiers against other soldiers, and we pointed out millions of times, Hezbollah is a much better trained force than Hamas, you're going to get significantly more civilian casualties than you got with this phone technique. So it's basically on every possible scenario of retaliation against Hamas, against Hezbollah, they did the thing that was most precise, most surgical, and did the least damage while being massively intimidating.
Plus, there's also the aspect of Israel. They have explicitly said many times that they don't want to violate Lebanon's borders and sovereignty. They respect Lebanon's sovereignty. Unfortunately, Hezbollah is using big chunks of Lebanon and using it as their basis and as their point of firing and fighting against Israel. So invading Lebanon. Lebanese borders here would violate the Lebanese borders. They don't want to officially go to war with Lebanon. They want to limit it to precise operations against Hezbollah targets. And so far, this was very, very good. It was a fantastic operation.
It's a good operation.
Yet in warfare, I dare you to give me another example of 3,000 enemy combatants affected and 2 civilians.
Well, I've got to be honest, I've never seen anything quite like this. It's
aha! Busted.
You see?
Okay, so you concede. We are best ever.
It is totally based.
Go off, and we see these videos simultaneously erupting all over Lebanon.
Yep.
Is it safe to assume this is a Mossad operation?
You know what?
Given how sophisticated it is?
What Israeli security agencies have been doing is enhancing their ability to operate together. Interoperability across organizations. So you would have military intel. There's a cyber unit in the very famous unit 8200 that does offensive cyber, and then there are Mossad capabilities, and one would assume that these have been working together.
One would assume,
checking, if reports are correct, the supply chain of Hezbollah, directly understanding exactly as you said. Hezbollah gave these machines out to their operatives because they were concerned about Israel listening to their cell phones and taking it.
Wait, he just showed us the screen of his phone.
Operatives because they were concerned about
it. What? It's a message from Bibi Netanyahu there. Hey, make sure you do a good job today.
You're nailing that Bibi impression.
That would be funny. That would be funny if he holds up his phone. It's like there's incoming messages. Man, you're crushing it. You're crushing it. You have humiliated Pierce.
Yeah. This is very, very interesting to see that he believes in a round Earth. Yeah. Wow.
What?
At least we have that control.
And our next guest is Candace Owens. Pierce, I saw his phone. He believes the Earth is round. He probably believes in dinosaurs too. Come on, Pierce. Is this a coincidence? He's a Jew who believes in a round Earth and dinosaurs. Come on. What else do we need?
I want to show one thing very briefly. This keeps coming up. Somebody earlier in the chat was also saying indiscriminate bombing.
What could the tomatoes be murdered?
Look at this video. Look at the vegetables and the things, all the products that are next to this guy when he explodes. Nothing moves. Nothing at all moves. Look at this.
Yeah.
You see that? The other people here aren't even getting hurt. It explodes in his pants, which I know sounds very suspicious. But the pager here that is on him explodes. The vegetables or whatever this is here are barely moved, barely affected. It is just the guy himself who falls down. Others are running away. He is the only person hurt here. How in the world do you think this is so very dangerous, indiscriminate bombings in the middle of the village?
You're in an open supermarket. There are multiple people 2 feet away from him. They're fine. Yeah. That on these videos of the explosive, it seems basically on the level of like an M80. Those are the big powerful firecrackers that you could occasionally get a hold of when you were a kid. Very, very powerful. But with something like M80s, it needs to be under pressure. In other words, if you put it on the ground, and it doesn't do a lot of damage to the ground because it explodes upward. If you hold it you can even hold one on your hand and it'll mess up your hand. It's not going to blow your hand. If you had one in your hand, then the pressure is going to it's going to push out and blow some fingers off or something like that. But it seems like that, in that if it's in your if you put an M80 in your pocket, it's gonna do some damage. If you had one in your face, inside something, it's going to do some damage. But this isn't like mass casualty. I mean, you got a little girl, right there, 2 little girls, and people walk away, and this guy's on the ground holding his testicles.
And the guy here standing next to him, like he's not even jumping in and concerned. All he does is he shuts his ears for a second there, and looks around like, what happened here? What am I? What's going on? What's going on? Did something just explode? I don't know.
And then ladies smartly, let me get my little daughters out of here.
Yeah. That's it.
So that's the Israeli mass casualty, indiscriminate massacring of civilians that we keep hearing about.
It looks like a nuclear strike. Ooh, almost. I wonder if they actually dropped nuclear bombs on every single Hezbollah member here.
And seriously, compare that to if they knew where this Hezbollah guy was and they wanted to take him out. What do? Do you drop a bomb on this place? You can. If that's who you were talking, I'm saying that you're going to kill some people. So you could drop a bomb, but you're going to get a lot of civilian casualties to get that one guy. So I hope you don't do that. Or you could send in a team of soldiers. Guess what? A team of soldiers could be going for that one guy. That one guy starts shooting back, and it's a gunfight. Guess what? That little girl back there, she's getting hit. That dope with the yellow shirt, he's getting hit. Some of these people are getting hit. Those tomatoes, those peaches, they're all messed up.
Yeah.
What do?
Very sad.
They put an M80 in the guy's pocket, and he goes down.
Very sad.
Shame on them.
We have some people who
woohoo, Syrian girl.
Like Syrian girl. This is so funny. This is the only person that I've ever done this to. She was following me, and I blocked her at one point, and then unblocked her again, just so that I can stop seeing her, and also get rid of her following me, so she doesn't follow me anymore. It's the only person that I ever felt the need to do that because of how terrible she is. But she posted earlier, breaking: Israel has hit Lebanon with a massive bomb, bunker buster, or even a tactical nuclear weapon, judging by the initial flash. Like I said, stop saying we have to avoid a wider war. War is upon us.
Tactical nuclear weapon. I actually saw that earlier. I saw that clip. I said, did Israel just nuke them? And then someone else responded, are you stupid or something like that? But there you have it. That's exactly what a nuclear bomb. That's what a nuclear bomb looks like, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what a nuclear bomb looks like.
Totally.
Bunch of flames shooting up in the air. It's exactly what a nuclear bomb looks like.
Funny is that as soon as I saw this reminded me of, wait a minute, didn't she in the past also say that Israel dropped a nuclear bomb on Gaza? So I searched her profile quickly and found it and posted it here in the response. I said again and posted the screenshot right here. Look, this is from December 2023. Israel has used what appears to be a tactical nuclear bomb on Gaza, blowing up 56 buildings at the same time. And then there's a community.
Does she not know what a nuclear bomb is? Does she? Anytime there's a big explosion, she thinks nuclear.
Yeah. And I searched her profile. I didn't want to overdo it, but I searched her profile for the word nuclear, and she keeps saying, she was also saying like 2 years ago, now that the West is not making any progress in Ukraine, are they going to use a nuclear bomb? She has an obsession with nuclear bombs, I guess. I just thought of something.
And next up, we have this guy debating Syrian girl. That would be an epic debate.
Man.
Israel listening to their cell phones and taking information. These don't explode, right? But a beeper full of explosives could.
Let me bring Candace Owens in now. And we got
Oh, here we go.
Before
There
that,
goes the show.
before that, guys, search Al-Kafi, Volume 1, The Birth of the Holy Prophet and His Demise, Hadith 27. I have never looked up anything in Al-Kafi, I think.
Volume 1, Hadith 27. Where does Al-Kafi? Where did I put Al-Kafi?
Al-Kafir. Let me see. Hadith,
Volume 1 right there.
Volume 1, Birth of Prophet and His Demise. Is it this one? Muhammad ibn Yahya has narrated from Sa'ad ibn Abdullah from Ibrahim ibn Muhammad whatever. When the Holy Prophet was born, he remained for days without milk. Abu Talib himself breastfed him.
Wait, what? What? we got to start reading it. Let me just make sure it's the same numbering system. We got to start reading these, man.
It's volume 1, book 4, volume 1, Al-Kafi.
I only go to Al-Kafi like to look up something specific that a Shia is bringing up.
Birth of the Holy Prophet and His Demise. When the Holy Prophet was born, he remained for days without milk. Abu Talib himself breastfed him, and Allah sent milk through his nipples. But he continued to be breastfed by him for several days until Abu Talib found Halima al-Saidiyah, so he gave him to her.
Hey, what I feared most is the case. This edition uses a different numbering system. So send me that link, because I would say make a video about it, but we know what's going to happen there.
You can find it right here on the. I'll just send it to you.
Just send me the link, man.
I send a private message right here.
Send the link, son. Yeah, this one has a totally different number 27.
So, okay, apparently Abu Talib had a breastfed Muhammad when he was without milk. I'm not sure from the context here if he was 4 days without milk and then Abu Talib breastfed him.
We'll ask for clarification from our Muslim friends.
By milk that Allah sent down through his nipples. I read a lot of weird, stupid hadiths, but this Shia source is a very special one, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I should look into Shia hadith.
That's going to be on Twitter.
Man, thank you, Calypso. Hu Jintao PM means 2 children will die today, Candace and Cenk. Oh, okay. Al-Begensian said, there once was a man with a rocket with a pager tucked into his pocket. The message was doom. The pager went boom. Now he carries his nuts in a locket. That's a very, very beautiful poem. I appreciate this.
You should have put these nuts in there, though, for meter.
Missed opportunity. Knows too much said the relations between Israel and Turkey were a lot better before Erdogan and his Islamist party took over Turkey. AP, do you have any knowledge on that? Yes, before Erdogan came to power, Turkey was on a path of trying to stick to secular ideas and westernization and liberal democracy. It was trying to suppress Islamist influence on the government. It was even technically not allowed for an Islamist party to be elected as government. Erdogan's party brought out the suppressed Islamist sentiments and started shifting, the direction of Turkey significantly. And with going toward Islam also comes hating Israel and trying to be the great hero of the Ummah against Israel. So that's basically why all of this happened. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
The RFB, I don't know. Is it peaches? I don't know. That's true. Fox McCloud said, Allah, the private blower has something in common with Israeli. Jeremy Mott, that guy had a 150 and now he don't.
That last comment was actually funny.
I know.
He's unloaded the vagina blower and then
knows too much that Palestinians free Palestine. Earth, brother, ew, I don't want it even for free. I'm already full of this crap. points to 20 plus pan-Arabic Islamic, 50 plus Islamic countries. This is true, very, very much. And finally, Arya Wasserman said, hey, what? How did I skip to the end of this? I was reading the super chats. Anyway, Passive Apology said, Abraham Hart became a member of the cult. Thank you for joining. Apu Baker said, paging Hezbollah tonight's show is going to be a blast. Michelle, always happy to see you. Michelle said, put tune on Spotify and Apple Music, Apostate Anthem. I shall. Should get back to work. David Wood, please don't leave AP unattended for long periods. When you leave him, he starts talking to his phone and making BFFs with cricket. Wo ist Herbert? Herbert is lost. I don't know. He left me. He left me. He went away. Miss B, you know, Cenk is unhinged when Candace seems calm. That is the point. Hu Jintao, Candace dressed in brown shirts. Is it a coincidence? Oh boy. I mean, I'm throwing ideas out there before the Congress makes it illegal in America. All right, let's continue, and I'll get back to the others now. Palestinian people.
Cenk back, I think. I'm sorry about that, Cenk. I don't know what happened. I think you disappeared and sparked.
He keeps calling me Cenk.
No. And we got Cenk back, I think. I'm sorry about that, Cenk. I don't know what happened. I think you disappeared and sparked a whole new conspiracy theory that we had you zapped off camera, but that is not true. You're alive and well and back with us. Candace, your reaction to this extraordinary operation?
Could you imagine if Cenk actually did disappear right before a live stream about the Jews?
Yeah.
Mossad got him, you see. Mossad took him out. There were probably people saying it when Pierce was saying it. It seems like we've lost connection. They're probably, you see, the Jews.
What the hell am I seeing here, man? I just quickly opened my Twitter tab to go for something. I forgot what even that was, because as soon as I open it, I see here spaces that are currently live on my feed. And here I see 1488 radio, National Socialist versus Groyper debate. Are you freaking kidding me?
Nazis versus Groypers?
Is this what X has come to? No.
X is now Nazis versus Groypers?
A debate platform where Nazis have a channel where they call it, which they call 1488 radio. Wow.
Can you imagine that debate too? All right, we're gonna lay out our opening case. We want to destroy all Jews. How do you guys respond? We want to destroy all Jews too. Well, okay, well, you're wrong, because we need to. Hey, wait, did you say you agree with us? Okay. Hey, you want to grab a coffee?
I mean, in an ideal world, they would get together and then kill each other or something like that. I don't know. 1488, for those who don't know, refers to the 14 words, which is a Nazi slogan of preserving a future for white children. And 88 stands for nothing other than the letter H put together twice, which translates to Heil Hitler. Man. Interesting.
By Mossad, ordered by Netanyahu yesterday, ongoing today, right across Lebanon. 2 children are reported to have been killed in this operation, who were clearly civilians and not Hezbollah terrorists. That's reported by the Lebanese Health Authority, which is not Hezbollah. What is your response to this? Is it, as Jonathan just said, fair game? If primarily the people who were targeted, almost all of them appear to have been Hezbollah.
Well, I think a question that I immediately want to ask him, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to, is that if you're able to delineate how surgical and precise these operations can be with the intelligence that you have, why are there 40,000 dead innocent women and children and civilians in Gaza? Because that's a question.
Oh, whoa. Hold up. Did Candace just say that, did Candace by asking this question just confirm that the strike in Lebanon against Hezbollah was a precision strike, and that it was good and it avoided civilian casualties? That's what she's just implying here right now, because that's very, very much in contradiction with her outrage, which she expressed when the attack happened. What's happening here? Is she just shifting immediately? What's going on? Maybe she's impressed by Jonathan Conrick's jaw, and she's like, "Oh, I can't rant against this man."
Oh, can you educate me? Here, I'll toss something out, and if I'm wrong, you can give me a little spanking. Hee 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 hee.
She indirectly said that it was hella based. Yeah, you see.
Question that I've always had. We keep hearing the excuse that behind every one of these victims is a Hamas soldier, but there's not 40,000 dead Hamas soldiers. And if the excuse is that there's a tunnel under there.
What? Oh my
Candace,
God.
no one is saying that every person who was killed was actually because a person. When we talk about using human shields, we're not talking about. I mean, it can be, but we're usually not talking about someone literally hiding behind a kid. It's you send out your rocket attack from a school, or you hide under a school, or you hide under a hospital, or this or that. And that's what we're talking about, hiding behind civilians. And so in order to get to the terrorist, or if the rockets are coming at you from a location, you fire a missile back and it's right beside a school or in a school or something like that, you end up hitting a bunch of things that are not actually your target.
There's a word that rhymes with a target, which I really want to use right now, but I don't know.
Isn't it crazy? I mean, it reminds me of the Dawa guys, in that you can say something that's totally stupid and other people can recognize it's stupid. But if your fans are more stupid, then wow, what a great point.
Okay, I want to hear this one more time because it just really broke my brain.
Hamas soldier, but there's not 40,000 children. The intelligence that you have, why are there 40,000 dead innocent women and children and civilians in Gaza? Because that's a question that I've always had.
Okay, one more time.
These operations can be with the intelligence that you have. Why are there 40,000 dead innocent women and children?
40,000 dead innocent women and children.
And civilians in Gaza?
And civilians.
That's a question that I've always had. We keep hearing the excuse that behind every one of these victims is a Hamas soldier, but there's not 40,000 dead Hamas soldiers. And if the excuse is that there's a tunnel under there, I mean, just me thinking logically through. And
what are you retarded?
Did she just say thinking logically? Candace, don't ever say that again.
Oh my God, Candace! I swear, I want to confront this woman. I want to have a debate with her. I just want to.
She would humiliate you.
Oh my God! Oh God! This is so stupid. This is so stupid, man. This is so incredibly stupid. According to Hamas, there are currently about over 40,000 deaths in Gaza as a result of this war. So 40,000, about 40,000 are dead according to Hamas. If she now comes and says that there are 40,000 innocent women and children and civilians, then this would mean that all of them, or almost all of those deaths, are women and children and civilians, innocent people. How many militants, how many terrorists have been killed? Or are all of these people allegedly, are all of them civilians, and did not a single terrorist get killed in these strikes? Does anyone believe that? Does even Hamas themselves believe such a ridiculously stupid thing? And the whole question here, it gets even worse. There is one line that just really makes me think, what in the world is happening? She says, but there are not 40,000 dead Hamas. Wait a minute.
Excuse that behind every one of these victims is a Hamas soldier, but there's not 40,000 dead Hamas soldiers. And if
there's not 40,000 dead Hamas soldiers, it doesn't even make sense.
Look at Dumb Pierce. Look at Dumb Pierce. Good point. Not 40,000 dead.
So stupid. I'm not sure if Jonathan Conricus even picks up on how ridiculously idiotic this is, what she's just saying there, and how he can, if he can even respond to this. Because if you're in the middle of a live broadcast conversation, it gets significantly harder to pick up something extremely idiotic that someone just said. So this is so ridiculously dumb. Here's somebody who apparently has an IQ of 70. Richard Valdez says, Candace is right, you shill. Tell me exactly, please. I'm going to watch for your comment. Tell me exactly how Candace is right. Tell me exactly with precision, not just, Candace is right. You are shill. You like Jews. Not that. Tell me exactly how she is right. Go now. Come on. Come on.
He's waiting.
Come on. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you. I will read it out loud no matter what you say. There, I said it. Come on.
That is an awesome opportunity, man.
No matter what you say, I will read it out loud. Explain to me right now, how is she right?
But how is she not right?
You have to be, it must be, you know, this is the fault of American Republicans.
Ooh.
Who made this person popular? Who made her popular?
Oh yeah, that's true. That was conservatives.
It was the conservative American Republicans who were like, oh, look at that. There's a black woman who is actually on the right. Let's make her famous.
Dude, respond to you? You get a good response?
Richard Valdez. Let's see. Richard Valdez. Nope, no response yet. I think Richard Valdez was just genocided or something. I don't know.
Oh, Hamas. No. Wasn't Hamas. Who was it? Hezbollah. No.
No response.
Was
No
it
response.
IDF? Was it Mossad? Who did it?
No response. Okay, I'm counting down. You have about 15 seconds. 15, 14, 13.
Don't miss out on your golden opportunity.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right.
He failed Candace.
You're a failure.
He
You
failed
are
Candace.
a failure.
And a loser.
The excuse is that there's a tunnel under there. I mean, just me thinking logically through engineering, you would only have to hit a tunnel at a couple of points to render it ineffective. So I'm just interested in why you guys can perform surgical procedures, but seemingly not in Gaza, where it looks like just an absolute war zone and buildings and hospitals and children and women are dead.
Well, on that point,
You can think about this for a little bit, for a few seconds or maybe a minute or so, and already explain to yourself why it is much easier to do precision strikes in Lebanon against Hezbollah, while it is much more difficult to do the same thing in Gaza against Hamas. You can come up with the explanation very, very, very quickly, actually, if you think about it. Honestly, she didn't think about it. She doesn't think. She doesn't know what thinking is. That's not what she does.
let's get a response from John.
Were you saying something, David?
No, I'm waiting. I want to hear what this guy's going to do.
Richard Valdez said he's driving. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, you're driving. You're driving. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm driving too, by the way.
This is why I cannot respond.
Fair question,
And plus the Jews, they blew up my phone.
and I appreciate it. And I'd like to make a comparison. I'm sure that you follow events.
Oh my God, look at this.
What?
Richard Valdez just responded. She is correct, because if they claim they have the best tech, the best intel, and 24-hour knowledge of where they are, why are they so heavy-handed? So, Richard Valdez, I just called out how ridiculously stupid Candace's claim here is on the numbers and so on. You said, shut up, she's right. You, what did you say? You shill. And I ask you to explain to me precisely now how in the world she is right. And this is what you put together. You're asking me a dumb, extremely vague question. Go to school, man. Read a book. You can order your first book online on Amazon. Do it today.
Or wait for Prime Day.
And you're very interested in what happens in Israel and with what our enemies are doing, and I see that. But I'm sure that you...
Did you see how he just did that? Did you see what he just did? He called out her obsession with Israel, but he did it like super. So I see you're very interested in what we do. And
The guy has a very, very good way with words.
that was funny.
are doing, and I see that. But I'm sure that you know that until this cyber operation that Israel reportedly did, Israel was able to kill more than 500 Hezbollah operatives in Lebanon, throughout Lebanon. Now, I haven't seen you tweet about it, or any of the other people who usually support the other side. But if you take a look at how many
He's good. He's good, man.
He said
He's like
support the other
subtle.
side.
He's like it's like subtle burns, man.
He said support the other side. Oh man.
killed in Lebanon as a result, as an unfortunate byproduct of Israeli strikes. And if you compare that to the situation in Gaza, I think that what you will find is it's the same IDF, the same operating procedures that we have in Gaza, only that here in Lebanon, until now, the situation is that Hezbollah has so far distinguished itself from civilian population, and they haven't been fighting from within cities. And as such, when the IDF has deployed lethal weapons against them, then terrorists
Look at Cenk. Look at Cenk.
have been
Look at
killed
him.
and not civilians.
Look,
And
I'll
it's-
just shake my head. I'll just shake my head. I'll just shake my head. How do you explain this? How do you explain my head shaking if you think you're right? How? I'm shaking my head.
He was. I know it. As soon as he starts talking, he will say, "This is so racist and
This is
bigoted."
why I'm going to be president. Come January.
And this all reminds me of Donald Trump and Republicans and abortion.
different IDF. It's because, as you said, you used the word excuses. I would call it a reason and the sad reality of Hamas using Gazan population as their human shields, which I think is deplorable. And if you claim to be a defender of Palestinians and
You would call it
Arabs and other
excuses. I would
people,
call it a
and
reason.
you have that in your heart, and I think that your criticism should be pointed first and foremost towards Hamas and all of the other cowards who are using Palestinians as their human shields, who are afraid to fight out in the open, who are firing rockets from school.
Ooh,
This dude's a
ooh,
machine, man. This
ooh.
dude is a freaking Terminator.
I know. I love this guy. I love this guy. He should be speaking everywhere in
This guy, he should be
on behalf of Israel.
every single show where my goodness, man.
She is getting humiliated.
Someone raises an objection and he destroys it in like 5 different ways.
I would be surprised if she had a response.
while jabbing the crap out of the person.
I would be surprised if she actually had a response to any of this. She is being lectured here on live broadcast. Wow.
Schools and who are using mosques as their launch pads against Israel. That, I think, is despicable, and that should be condemned. Not the fact that we are going in there to fight them after they attacked us on October the 7th.
I
But by all
didn't
means,
issue a condemnation. I didn't issue a condemnation.
I'm just
I
asking
asked you a
questions.
question. And you just delivered me
I
the
did
same
it. I'm just
topic
asking
that we always-
questions.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
she's
just
actually
asking questions.
she's actually doing the very same thing here, just live on TV. This is all Candace.
I didn't. Yeah, guys. I mean,
Oh my
is she being genuine there? Is she being? I didn't accuse you of anything. I didn't accuse you of anything. I didn't accuse you of anything. Yes, you did, Candace.
You know what?
You
How
most
about
certainly did. Yes, you put it in terms of I'm confused by how you could be surgical right here, but not nearly as surgical over here. What's going on? It's like you don't care about these people and you want to just obliterate all of them.
Well, the thing is also that she tweeted very, very, very wildly with some interesting passion. Of course, maybe she was just asking questions in her own way, but she tweeted after the operation happened, and I can show you what she tweeted. So let's look at that. Let's look at that. Let us look at that. Okay, let's see. Let's go through her tweet. I'm using my burner account again because she has me blocked. So, right. Praying, kill Trump. People do not appreciate how close World War III is. Yeah, sure, you would know. Americans are foolish in their belief that what happens overseas could never happen here. Regarding Lebanon, my immediate question is, can a foreign adversary make decisions to blow up all of our smartphones on demand? Oh my God, you absolute imbecile. You absolute imbecile. 56,000 likes. 2 million people saw this. She was one of the people whose first response to this, to Israeli intelligence allegedly specifically constructing devices that would be specifically shipped to Hezbollah, that specifically are meant to explode. When they exploded, she was one of those people who then came out and thought, how did they do this? How did they make these devices go boom? What if my phone goes boom now because they don't like me?
Phone? I've got multiple computers in front of me.
What if
Cameras,
they make my computer
everything.
go boom? Oh no. Candace, you absolute imbecile. Israel doesn't have the technology to use mind control and telekinesis and make your devices blow up.
Or to
on
push
demand.
a button. Yeah. Those things Candace, just to be clear, and everyone is watching, those things blew up because they inserted explosives into them, not because they're just like, oh, we can blow up any pager or any cell phone on the planet just with the push of a button.
Unfortunately, people in our media are funded by AIPAC. Oh yeah, there she goes again, going against the one lobby that advocates for better relations with a different nation, which would be Israel. Which of course is only about her opposition to lobbies. That's it. It's only about her opposition to lobbies that lobby on behalf of different governments, or for better relations with different governments. Which is why, of course, she's against all of them, all of the lobbies that have to do with foreign governments. She just only ever says something about AIPAC and not the rest, because, for some different reason, I don't know. They have no interest in serving the American people by thinking through the implications for our security. Our journalists and politicians are outright treasonous on the topic Israel. She is obviously blasting
Treasonous.
Israel and agreeing with Edward Snowden, whose only quality is leaking things and then being set up. That's it. If it were iPhones that were leaving the factory with explosives inside, the media would be a hell of a lot faster to cotton on to what a horrific precedent has been set today. Nothing can justify this. It's a crime. A crime. And everyone in the world is less safe for it. So she agrees with this. Exactly this. This is more than a condemnation, and also accuses the media and politicians of treason for not calling Israel out on this. It is the purest form of evil when people learn that innocent children were killed and their instinct is to crack jokes at their manner of death. Inexplicably demonic energy. Is that what people did, Candace?
Who's cracking jokes about the kids? People are cracking jokes about the terrorists.
Yeah.
You're talking about actual terrorists, Candace. You still have terrorists in the world. You have Al-Qaeda terrorists. You have Boko Haram terrorists. If someone managed to get, the balls of a bunch of Boko Haram terrorists who slaughter men, women, and children and kidnap girls and rape them and force them to curtains, someone actually did something to blow their balls off. Yes, lots of people would be making jokes about it. If some kid were standing right beside the guy and the kid got injured by collateral damage, people would still make fun of the Boko Haram terrorists getting his balls blown off. That wouldn't mean they're happy about the kid getting hurt.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. Candace Owen reposted, if there's tech out there that can surge batteries until they explode, what does that mean for people who drive electric cars?
Oh no.
So you hear that, guys? What Israel did was they just made all the batteries explode, and therefore they can explode everything that has a battery in it. Oh my goodness, wait a minute. My laptop has a battery in it. I know, because I have to charge it. And my phone has a battery.
And then she makes a video about this, and the thumbnail is World War III is coming, with her looking at this tiny little explosion. She can even see it on the video.
How'd she get a Polaroid of that, by the way? A Polaroid?
This is so stupid, man.
She has a Polaroid?
This is so freaking stupid. Seriously. She is just such a horrible hypocrite. Imagine how she's buddying up and having this lovey-dovey thing with Kanye West, while calling out anyone else who, according to her, does something that is slightly provocative or slightly inappropriate or whatever it is. Kanye West, the guy who now has a new wife whom he makes walk outside naked, whom he put on his album cover completely naked with her butt exposed, showing. At the same side, she of course absolutely rejects and condemns and criticizes and bashes female musicians who do similar stuff or something that is not even half as bad. Kanye West calls himself God, calls himself Jesus. But she is a devout Christian who totally cannot take blasphemy, but is totally fine with that, and so on. She is such a horrible person. This is actually the funniest thing. Gangster rap was never black culture. It was created by the feds, who preferred deals to homosexual black men in prison, and then who proffered deals, okay, and then turned them into artificial celebrities. The goal was to create false idols to destroy black American values. Everything is a conspiracy. Everything is a conspiracy. And look at this line. I will never change my mind on this. Yes, I know. We know. If you are somebody who makes up a theory and you actually openly state that you will never change your mind on this, you are basically admitting that you are an idiot. You are literally admitting that you are an idiot who will not learn and who will not reason, who will not change your mind because you don't rely on reason. You just want to believe in whatever you want to believe in. That's it.
Yeah, the weird part is the government did do all kinds of things to screw up black families and to really, really mess things up. But it's not, hey, we're sabotaging them. It's, hey, we think these things are that's why Thomas Sowell said in the early 1990s that the past few decades have been spent replacing what works with what sounded good. All these things sounded good. Let's do this to help people, and it turns into disaster and so on. It was created by the Jewish mafia. Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad
you want to show your picture. You want to show your picture.
Jake Shields came in and corrected her by pointing out that actually the Jewish mafia created hip hop, or had created gangster rap. So I went on to look for the Jewish mafia that.
Wait a second. Are they going to have a debate on who started it, the Jewish mafia or the federal government?
I say it was the Jews. Now it was the feds actually, and it wasn't specifically Jews. It was a certain group of Jews who are sacrificing children and drinking their.
Well,
blood.
fight me then. Fight me. I'll fight you in the octagon. You go 60 seconds with me in the octagon, Candace.
So I went on to look for the Jewish group that started gangster rap, and apparently it is this group, JWA, which stands for Jews with Attitudes. They are the ones who actually started.
Hey, it's actually smart that you didn't put the third period there. You actually got it right. For NWA.
No, what I did was actually this. I Googled NWA to look specifically for that picture. And then I took it directly from here and simply changed the J into an N, the N into a J.
Oh, yeah. Now I can tell the J's a little different. It's a different font. Hey, fix your font, man. No, don't worry about it. I didn't notice.
So,
hey, you didn't show my follow-up.
We did. You made a follow-up?
I put all their names on there because you didn't put their names.
I didn't even see this. Dude, most people don't know who these guys are because the Jewish media covered up the true origins of gangster rap. I added the names so people can look them up and learn the truth. Thanks, Candace Ovens.
All right, so we got Gefilte Fresh, Moses Def, LL Oive, Iceberg, Lil Foreskin, Bar Spitzva, DM Exodus, Tupac Kapoor, Snoop Kosher Dog, and Dr. Dreidel. And now people know because, again, the Jewish media covered this stuff up, man.
That's pretty big. Lil Foreskin is the best, though. Yeah.
I like Bar Spitzva.
Iceberg. Anyway, let's get back to the topic here.
here, and you didn't actually provide me an answer.
I actually
if you
did.
are
I gave you
able
an
to go into a
explanation.
foreign country, you guys you have control over the Gaza Strip, right? It's a
No.
part of Israel. If
No.
you are able to go into a country like Lebanon where you don't have control, where you can't just shut off their water, where you can't be monitoring people's actions in the same way and within the same proximity to Israel, why are you unable to similarly perform a surgical operation to locate where exactly those Hamas soldiers are? And by the way, do you have a number for how many Hamas soldiers have been killed?
Yes, they have. They actually published a number quite a while ago. And it's very easy. Why, Candace? I would say it's not a necessarily very unfair question, although she gets the details wrong. But just look at how Gaza is set up, how Gaza lives. Just look at how dense Gaza is. And according to Hamas statements as well, where Hamas operates and so on. It's very simple. Very, very simple.
Killed in the Gaza Strip?
Right. So, I mean, you either weren't listening or
Can you
maybe
just
I
answer that?
wasn't
How many
clear.
Hamas soldiers have been killed?
Yeah, I
in the
heard your
Gaza
question,
Strip?
Candace. I heard your question. Maybe you weren't listening or I wasn't clear. I'm usually clear when I speak, but I'll repeat it. We've been able to
You're perfectly clear, dude.
take out more than 500 Hezbollah operatives. And
Dude, hey, that dude read The Art of War, man. He read The Art of War. Oh, no, that matter of fact, I don't think that story was from The Art of War. That's a story about Sun Tzu. The emperor said, here, I want you to show me your skills of training soldiers. Use my harem and make them march. So he hands over his harem and stuff, and he gives the girls some training. Sun Tzu, he gives the girls some training, and then he tells them to march and form ranks and stuff like this, and the girls start giggling. And he said, if the general's orders are not understood, then the general has not made himself clear. And he repeats the order and they giggle again. And then he says, if the general orders are clear, then the soldiers are not listening. And he executes 2 of them. And then they do everything he said. But that little, oh, maybe I'm not clear. Oh, maybe I wasn't clear, or maybe you weren't listening.
Are you saying he should kill Candace Owens? This is
I'm saying this. It's just good. There, it's obvious what his intentions are.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Collateral damage in Lebanon. I'll repeat it. Israel has been able to take out more than 500 Hezbollah operatives, and with absolutely minimal collateral damage in Lebanon. Why is that the case, which is different from the situation in Gaza? Because Hezbollah hasn't been hiding amongst civilians yet. Hamas is. And that is why, unfortunately,
what is dumb Cenk was shaking his head for?
Been killed in significant.
He's a child.
Yeah.
This guy's a man.
Think about. I mean, just seriously, how insanely stupid these two are, Candace and Cenk here. It's on the one hand, I get the question. If you're not familiar with the details, I get the question. Hey, why are you so surgically precise against these guys? And these guys, you're dropping bombs and blowing. Why the difference? But then he explains there's a difference. These guys are all hiding among and around and under civilians in a very densely populated. These other guys aren't. They're not doing it. So it is a different type of fight that we're dealing with. And because it's a different type of fight, we use different methods and get different results. He already said that. And then she repeated exactly, but you're not being surgically precise over here. And I don't understand why there's so many civilian casualties in this area where they're hiding among civilians. I mean, that's her actual objection. These guys aren't hiding among civilians. And you're killing them. But these guys are hiding among civilians, and there are more civilian casualties. Explain this. Explain it. Can you explain why there are more civilian casualties among the people who hide among civilians? Can you explain that? And among the people who deliberately maximize civilian casualties to use them as a PR campaign, who admit that they want as many civilians dead as possible. Can you explain why you have more civilian casualties with that group? Can you explain it? It's such a great mystery to me. I can't for the life of me figure it out, and I'm a very deep thinker.
She won't get it. She won't get it, man. She absolutely
probably won't get it again. She'll probably just repeat herself.
She won't get it again. According to let's see, I'm trying to find the source of Benjamin Netanyahu and others talking about the death rate. We'll figure that out in a second here.
Numbers, and many have been wounded. If I were you, I wouldn't
How many
use
Hamas
Hamas
soldiers
information.
have been killed in the Gaza
I
Strip?
wouldn't rely on Hamas statistics and to claim for them to be true.
I'm asking you, I'm not asking Hamas. How many Hamas soldiers have been killed in the Gaza Strip?
Yeah, I'll answer, and it's nice that we're having an interview and Pierce is getting a few minutes off. According to the information that I have, and this is working numbers.
This guy's a beast, man. This guy's a beast. How have I not seen this guy on every channel ever? I mean, seriously, when Pierce was having, you have to say, right? Like, again, I like.
Well, the funny thing is that Pierce is not getting it. He's just he continues like this.
Well, I'm thinking like, okay, so Pierce gets people on his show, and it'll obviously be people that are going to make a huge spectacle, and he's not picking people who are going to be, dare I say, the most surgically precise in their responses. He finally has a guy who's just like surgical precision. This guy is the exploding smartphones of talk show guests right now.
He was, by the way, on Piers Morgan several times in the past,
okay.
and he's always very very good. And I think when he was the spokesperson, when he was the official spokesperson, he was giving like dozens of interviews per day. So to different channels, he was constantly talking to the press in different countries. I think the numbers were like that he was doing like 20 interviews in one day, every day, during in the first months of the war. The guy is a beast, literally.
Numbers, and I think it will take a lot of time before a definite number of dead Hamas terrorists is given. But the best assessment that I am aware of is between 16 and 18,000 Hamas operatives that have been killed in combat in Gaza.
Oh,
what an idiot! Do you see what I mean? This guy's giving the best explanation based on the data available, and Cenk over there. What's he going to say? We got to hear from Cenk, man.
Did you see this powerful argument? So the powerful argument that Cenk just made is the following. For those who haven't heard it. That's a very powerful argument. And I would say that he cornered the IDF spokesman there with that argument, which this is probably hard to respond to. He made a good point. Let's see what happens.
Cenk, why are you laughing?
There we go.
That's an outrageous, ludicrous number. Even the IDF doesn't make up numbers like that. Once they said 13,000, then they went back to 9,000.
Are you stupid, Cenk? This is actually what the IDF themselves said.
He says not even the IDF. No, Cenk just said not even the IDF gives those ridiculous numbers, AP.
Times of Israel, IDF. Dozens of tunnels raised on Gaza-Egypt border, 17,000 terror operatives killed in war. 15th of August, 2024. Hamas repeating claim that guard killed hostage, says captor acted against blah, 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 blah. So IDF is the source itself that directly gives the information to the Times of Israel that 17,000 Hamas militants, terrorists have been killed. And here you have Cenk Uygur more than a month later saying not even IDF says that. How does this guy have a platform as a journalist, as a news guy? How does this guy have a platform? What an idiot, man. What an imbecile.
Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers over time. In February, the IDF was saying 10,000. In April, they were saying 13,000. Yeah, AP News, that's your news channel. Yeah, that's August 15th. They said 17,000. Yeah, same thing there. PBS.
Bibi himself, Netanyahu, in March said, and I listened to the podcast. He was on a podcast. He was on two podcasts there, where he said that at least 13,000 terrorists are among those killed. This was March.
That's March. Yeah,
March.
and as of August, I'm looking at as of August, I'm looking at AP, PBS, all that stuff. But they're giving the IDF figure estimates, and that's 17,000. This guy said what, between 16 and 8? He would estimate 16 to 18,000.
Yeah,
and they're estimating 17,000. So he's giving, okay, maybe it's some more, maybe it's a little less, but somewhere in that ballpark. And Cenk laughs and says, "Ha ha ha! Not even the IDF would say something stupid like that." When that's the IDF figure.
so here's the IDF figure. We have it right here, and here is Cenk saying this.
Even the IDF.
15,000 Hamas operatives that have been killed in combat in Gaza.
Oh, let's bring in
Because that's an outrageous, ludicrous number. Even the IDF doesn't make up numbers like that. Once they said 13,000, then they went back to 9,000, and this
once they said 13,000, back in February.
So you have it right here. The IDF, or more than a month before this, literally said 17,000 Hamas terrorists killed. And here, Cenk, this idiot here, is like, not if the IDF says that. You are a big man-child, Cenk. You are an absolute idiot. It's so ridiculous that you actually thought at some point that you could become a president of the United States of America. Maybe you could become a president of, I don't know, some stupid country. I don't know, like Turkey or something like that. I don't know.
He would be awesome in a debate though, because they'd be debating, they raise a point, and he just go. Reminds me of man. Guys, I do not watch Star Wars, but I saw it when I was a little kid, and I still remember Jabba the Hutt going, dude, you should splice those clips of Jabba the Hutt laughing and Cenk laughing in exactly the same way.
I only have one laugh on my soundboard, and that is this. That's from Inglorious Bastards.
Jonathan, do you concede that right here just made up 16 to 18,000? So Jonathan, do you concede that Israel has dictatorial control over Gaza and the West Bank, that it's a different situation than a sovereign nation that could have military or different barracks or can separate folks? It's like saying in occupied France, well, why was the resistance hiding among the civilian population? So of course we had to kill all the French who are protecting the resistance. So the problem is that another country, Israel, has dictatorial control over Gaza.
Dude, absolutely stupid.
Dude, he does not get it. Cenk, no one fights like this. No one. Not the Germans, not the Japanese. No one tries to maximize the casualties among their own civilian populations except Muslim jihadis. That's the only groups and not even all Muslim jihadis do it, but Hamas does. It's a different sort of thing. And the fact that you guys can't get your minds around what a nightmare situation that causes. We'll jump across the border, slaughter a bunch of people, rape a bunch of people, torture a bunch of people, take a bunch of hostages, and then run and hide under schools and hospitals and everything else, and not realizing what a mess that creates. And then you blame the people that have to go and clean up that mess. Freaking dope, man. It's going to suck if he becomes president.
Yeah.
Hey, Cenk, I have to say, if you do if the only thing I can say to your credit is you actually make Kamala look good by comparison. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Got to acknowledge that, right? I mean, you're not claiming that Gaza's.
No, I have to disagree. Even Kamala is better than him. Please be serious.
For you guys, just
what?
I said he makes Kamala look good by comparison.
Oh, did you say that? Okay, I wasn't paying attention. Okay, good.
I'll take Kamala in a second over this dude.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
Hey, laugh compilation. Kamala cackling and Cenk.
Late.
I think that the only thing
if I may say that, I think we're focusing too much on the Israel-Hamas war, which we've done a lot on this show, as you know, with you guys. Right? I would rather
for the last
your
year.
reaction to a specific operation which appears to have been conducted Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel's instructions, and carried out primarily led by Mossad. From an operational point of view, obviously a stunning success.
Well, that was stupid. What Pierce should have been doing here would be to let Jonathan Conricus answer this question and then move on. Because what happened here is that Cenk asked this stupid question once again and made a stupid point once again. And it would be best if Jonathan Conricus answers the question and then we move on to the topic. That's it.
But is it valid? Is it fair game, as Jonathan said, given the way that Hezbollah has been attacking Israel now for years?
Yeah. So the most important part of this, Piers, is why did Israel act now? Because, look, you could say, oh, Saddam Hussein was a bad guy, so we should have gone into Iraq. No, I don't think so. You could say Hezbollah are terrorists, but then Israel has killed 30 times the civilians that Hamas has, let alone Hezbollah. So is the Israeli government, the IDF, and Netanyahu terrorists?
But you don't dispute that Hezbollah has been targeting Israel for years.
Okay.
This guy has a very, very hard time sticking to the topic and to the point at hand.
Just look. I mean, okay. Let's go back first. Pierce. Let's go back to 1427. Something happened. Now, this is my great grandfather, but he passed down this bit of wisdom to me on the issue of ancient Rome. Now, ancient Rome, as you may know, Pierce, was a place, and they had a lot of fights, but their big strategy was the legion, right? Like they had a military, they had a good unit, the Roman legion, which was a good development on the earlier Greek method of fighting in the phalanx. It's like, dude,
look at this.
Address the freaking point. Well,
I had this translated in real time earlier. Should have saved it though. Hamas leader Ghazi Hamad said in a previous meeting, omitted from the internet, the Palestinian people are a strong card in our hands, even if they kill 20,000 others from our people, or even 100,000. This is Ghazi Hamad, who is one of the main Hamas leaders.
أقول لكم رأس مالنا الأساسي هو شعبنا الفلسطيني اللي هو بيعتبر يعني في داخل فلسطين التاريخية اللي ضل صامد ومتمسك بهويته وبيقاتل وبيحارب لليوم وبالتالي هم لا يستطيعوا أن يهزموا الشعب الفلسطيني حتى لو قتلوا كمان 20,000.
So yeah, he is saying that as long as the population is there, no matter what happens, how the war continues and how many of them are killed, they are a strong card in our hands. This is what the Hamas leadership, including this scumbag with his disgusting Zabiba on his forehead, says about the civilian population of Gaza. People see this kind of stuff. You post this kind of stuff. They see this, and they look at this and are like, anyway, Israel needs to stop doing this and this and this.
This poor man.
And this is only one of many examples. We have played many examples before of Hamas leaders explicitly saying that they hide under the civilian population, that this is their thing. Yahya Sinwar said that we have Israel exactly where we want right now with the civilian casualties. You had Israeli Hamas respondents going on TV explaining that they don't have the responsibility to put money into building shelters for their own civilian population, but that they would rather use the money to build tunnels to fight Israel from, and so on. This is who these people are. This is what Hamas is. This is not the fault of Israel. They are deliberately putting the lines of their civilian population on the line, because to them it doesn't matter. What matters to them is to win this religious war and to destroy Israel and to take all of the land and start a caliphate. That's
Hold up. What do you mean, you people?
I mean terrorist people.
Yeah. So the Cenk and Candace are very confused about why you have a difference. Guess what? If Hezbollah were using the exact same methods and they had done the same thing, keep in mind, when one group is firing rockets at Israel, they tend to rely on their Iron Dome and on firing rockets back. That's what they tend to do. guess what? That's what Hezbollah has mainly been doing. They've been sending rockets and so on. And so Israel's been focusing on doing that. They would have done the same thing with Hamas, because that's usually what they did with Hamas. Hamas fires rockets, Israel fires rockets back. Hamas did something very, very different. They went over, under, and through their security perimeter, slaughtered tons of people, raped and tortured people, took a bunch of hostages back across the border, and then went into their went into their cubby holes, knowing Israel's going to come for them, and knowing that they could actually, that Hamas could actually maximize civilian casualties to get protesters marching around the world. Guys, that is very, 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 very different from what Hezbollah has been doing. If Hezbollah were doing the same thing, you would indeed get a much bloodier, brutal response. In other words, if Hezbollah had marched across, killed a bunch of people, slaughtered a bunch of people, raped a bunch of people, taken a bunch of hostages, and then ran and hid in the waiting arms of Syria and Lebanon, of the civilian population, hid amongst them, hid in tunnels underneath them, and Israel went to get their hostages back, yes, you would have way, way, way more civilian casualties. Fortunately, Hezbollah has not been behaving as horribly as Hamas right now, and that accounts for the difference. And it's simple. A 4-year-old can understand this. Candace and Cenk can't.
There is a situation with Lebanon as well, which is Lebanon has a very complicated a very complicated government system, which is because it has 3 different religious groups that are dominant, one being Maronite Christians, the other Sunni Muslims, and the other Shia Muslims. Shia Muslims basically took over. It used to be a majority Christian country. That's when Lebanon was good. Then the demographics changed into majority Muslim, and that's where Lebanon started falling apart. Lebanon has this system that was in place since the establishment of the modern state of Lebanon, where the president has to be a Christian. The problem with that is that the president is very much the presidency is very much symbolic, not very much in action. I think the prime minister has to be Sunni Muslim or Shia Muslim, and the speaker must be a Sunni, or the other way around, whatever. So, but however, within the Lebanese country, due to the influence of the Shia population, Hezbollah has also claimed and become a part of the government, and is now in charge of big chunks of the Lebanese.
You said chunk.
Lebanese territories. So they are controlling them, and they are serving as a political and paramilitary group, separate from the Lebanese army. They are their own force, which is, of course, created and enforced by the Shia influence and demands. When Israel fights Hezbollah, they are not fighting against Lebanon. So it's not a war between one sovereign country and another sovereign country. It's a war between one sovereign country, Israel, against a terrorist organization that operates inside Lebanon, but is not necessarily part of or is not necessarily the government of Lebanon on its own. The situation is a little bit complicated. And I'm pretty sure that Candace doesn't actually know any of this stuff. So, yeah.
And Israel's been targeting Israel bombed Beirut, bombed Damascus.
Forget Israel for a moment.
They bombed Tehran. They bomb all their neighbors.
Yeah,
but hold on. Why now, Piers?
Specifically, do you accept
that
Hezbollah has persistently targeted Israel with endless rockets? Do you accept that?
Oh, they've launched rockets, no question. And I'm sure you guys can see that Israel has...
There may have been some rockets launched. No one knows.
As Jonathan said, if it was Hezbollah terrorists who were specifically targeted through their pages, is that fair game, given the state of the warfare between Hezbollah and Israel?
Look, I can answer that question, but we've got to get to the more important
question.
Answer it, man. That was the question you were just asked, yes or no? Or is it more nuanced and you need to explain yourself? But what are you going to go and talk? You going to talk about something else?
This guy's such a filthy scumbag, man. Seriously.
Well, answer that question first.
Hold on, I'll answer it.
Hey, look at your boy here. Look at your boy grinning.
The 2,800 people and the children near them and the other civilians near them, that they were all quote unquote terrorists before they decided to murder all of them. Now, luckily,
Wow,
only
amazing.
12 died, but 2,800 were injured. No, they didn't check. And by the way, buyer
Do you
beware
suggest
of
we send
Israeli
them a
products.
warning
Apparently, they
first?
have bombs in them.
Yeah. Why didn't you send them a warning text? Say, hey, just so you know, this pager is going to blow your nuts off in 5 minutes. So get as far away from any kids as possible, because this thing will self-destruct. That's what I mean. It always comes down to the exact same thing. Israel can be bombed. Israel can be subject to endless terrorist attacks, slaughtering civilians, taking hostages, and they just have to accept it and do nothing in response. That is the position of absolutely everyone who is like Cenk, Candace, and so on. Israel has to sit there and do nothing, because no matter what they do in response, people complain. If they bomb a building because Hamas is firing rockets from off the building, if they bomb the building, then shame on them for bombing the building. It's indiscriminate. If they target not just specific jihadi, not just a specific jihadi group, but specific body parts, by going just to their pager, shame on them. It doesn't matter how precise or imprecise they are. It's just anything they do in response, they're evil.
Yeah, they're firing. They're fighting right now. There are updates, news on missile fire and IDF carrying out targeted strikes against Hezbollah inside Lebanon. Israeli military said that
Wait a
about
minute,
90
wait a
rockets
minute,
had
wait
been
a minute,
fired at northern
AP.
Israel from Lebanon on Saturday,
Wait,
and that it struck more than
Are
400
you
rocket
saying
launches.
Israel launched a nuclear attack against Lebanon?
Totally, yeah. Totally, that's exactly what I
It's
said.
just in from Syrian girl.
Yeah.
Do you suggest we send them a warning?
The real question is why
you
now?
remind me of when the
Netanyahu
BBC
wants to
asked
start
me
a war.
if we should have warned the Hamas terrorists who were keeping our 4 hostages before we went in to save them. Why didn't we warn them before? Because civilians were killed in the combat. You are just as ridiculous in your pontification and in your
What's pontification? Don't use that word against me. Don't use that word against me.
Look how low Pierce has to go in order to get you to say something against Hezbollah. How low does he have to go in order to justify Israel defending
Jonathan,
itself?
it's easy. It's easy. I call out Hamas and Hezbollah all the time. I wish they would never fire any rockets. I wish there would be no violence.
Right.
You, on the other hand, are totally okay with killing
the
30
French
times the number.
resistance,
Hold on,
which
let me
is
finish.
preposterous.
You're okay with killing 30 times the number of civilians that Hamas did. Obviously, that's terrorism on a mass scale that Israel does.
No, it isn't.
What?
What an idiot.
Cenk, that's not how this works, okay?
That's not what terrorism is. You don't even know the definition of terrorism. I don't think Candace does either. Isn't it amazing? They don't know what they don't know the literal meaning of the word terrorism. They don't know what genocide means. They don't know what any of these basic terms mean.
Look, even if Israel, in response to October 7, killed 200,000 people as part of this conflict, 1, it would not be terrorism. 2, it would not be a genocide. 3, it would not be ethnic cleansing. Don't be an idiot. Get the feces that replaced your brain out of there. Learn something. Start making sense. That's not the definition of terrorism. It's not the definition of genocide. It wouldn't be pretty, right? It wouldn't be pretty if Israel, if as a result of the Israel counterattack, 200,000 people died. Would it be a genocide? No. Would it be terrorism? No. That's it. You can't just rely on your stupid feelings and go, so many people died. There must be something bad. And let me see, what's something bad? Oh yeah, genocide. It's genocide. It is a war. It is a war. And what decides whether these are war crimes or not, whether this is a genocide or not, whether this is terrorism or not, depends on all of the details and technicalities and the numbers associated with this ongoing war. If Israel responded and for some strange reason 200,000 people died, and you could still demonstrate that Israel had no other way to resolve this and that due to the circumstances, due to the other side's doings as well, 200,000 people died, and they could demonstrate that they did whatever they can in order to prevent the mass civilian casualties, it could be very easily established that this is not a genocide. A genocide would have to have a specific intention by those who carry out these attacks to destroy permanently significant parts of a certain group, of a certain population, in order to cause their destruction. If this is not established, if it's not established that this was the goal, then you cannot assess and come to the conclusion that a genocide took place. You could go a different route and say that they did not do enough to prevent a genocide, but that would be a completely different issue. Right now, Israel in Gaza carried out many operations in these last 12 months almost, as a result of which tens of thousands of people are dead. According to Hamas, 40,000 people are dead. According to IDF numbers of those last month, 17,000 were Hamas terrorists. If given, let's say on surface level that both of these numbers are true, 40,000 people are dead. Let's believe for a second here that Hamas actually tells us the truth, right? Let's say 40,000 people are dead, and then let's also assume here that the IDF gives us the accurate numbers, and they killed at least 17,000 Hamas terrorists. This would mean that this is not a very bad civilian to combatant death ratio. In fact, given the history of urban warfare, given the history of warfare over the last century, this would be rather on the good end. And we're not saying that killing civilians is good in any way, but this would be on the better end of civilian to non-civilian death ratios. It would mean that Israel did a lot in order to minimize civilian casualties, and the rate is acceptable, in an acceptable range. How many people died has nothing to do with whether this is a war crime or not, massacre or not, genocide or not.
It reminds me of this was the thing like 12, 13 years ago with various terrorist attacks. You would occasionally have like just some mass murderer who just kills a bunch of people and then blows his brains out. I don't mean the terrorist attacks. I mean, you occasionally have someone who just commits mass murder, right? Like he just goes and just guns everyone down at work or something like that. And then the responses you'd get from a lot of the Dawa guys and so on would be, and leftists would be, oh, but they don't call this a terrorist attack because it's a white guy. No. It's not that the person was a white guy. It's that there was no political aim. That's part of the definition of terrorism. One, you have to be targeting civilians to further your political cause. That's what terrorism is, right? So when you scream Allahu Akbar and you kill a bunch of people, and then here's my manifesto, that's terrorism. That's terrorism. If you just go and kill a bunch of people because you suck and you hate life, that's not terrorism. That's mass murder. Keep in mind, mass murder is bad. I'm not saying it. It's not terrorism. It's not genocide. These things have specific definitions. And what we find nowadays is this really came out of, the past couple decades where anyone you didn't like, you called them racist. Even if what you're criticizing has absolutely nothing to do with racism, you just called someone racist. Here's a negative word. I will apply it to this person that I don't like. And now they've just dialed it up. Anytime you don't like someone now or don't like something they do, it's genocide. It's genocide and terrorism. And basically language is being destroyed. These words are no longer going to have any meaning.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure something out right now. So this would mean, if we are to assume that the numbers are right and that 40,000 people died in Gaza in this war, and 17,000 of those are indeed Hamas terrorists, that would mean that we have quite a good ratio of militants versus non-combatants, and that 0.74 militants for every non-combatant were killed. This is a good number in the history of urban warfare. It's not by any means an extraordinary number or a bad number or anything like that. It is quite a reasonable number, especially considering that urban warfare seems is a very, very messy thing where civilian casualties are very much expected, especially when we're talking about Gaza, which has a high population density, and especially when we're talking about Hamas, which hides among civilians and under civilians and so on. This is what it is. If Israel really wanted to go in and kill everybody, they could have done that. They could have carpet bombed Gaza.
But you say it's okay because we're the good guys? No, that makes you terrorists.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
You didn't want to kill them.
I just called you terrorists.
Doesn't turn it to be true. Israel is defending itself against a jihadi enemy, an enemy that has said we are not going to stop until we kill all the Jews. I wouldn't want you or anybody else to be in that situation, but that is the situation that Israel is in. We have to defend ourselves against people who say our only goal in life is to eradicate Israel and kill all the Jews who live there and build a Sharia-based state in Palestine. Those are their words. So, I don't know how you think that you could defend yourself Jonathan, against it, but being nice isn't one of them.
You live in La La Land.
Nice. I don't know how you.
Palestinians might prevent an Israeli state. Well, Israel exists. But you prevent a Palestinian state.
Oh my God, this guy is an absolute imbecile, man.
Defend ourselves against people in that situation, but that is the situation that Israel is in. We have to defend ourselves against people who say our only goal in life is to eradicate Israel and kill all the Jews who live there and build a Sharia-based state in Palestine. Those are their words. So I don't know how you.
Look, here's Jonathan Conricus, former spokesman of the IDF, is pointing out one very, very simple fact, which is that Hamas specifically has been saying consistently from the very beginning that their goal is to destroy all of Israel and to eradicate the Jews, and take all of the land and establish an Islamic state from there. That is their goal. That's their stated goal. This is not something that anyone is making up. It's their stated goal. Now, Jonathan Conricus is saying if we did not stop them, they would come and destroy Israel. So we would no longer exist and kill all of us and then have their sick state. And now look what Cenk here answers.
I think that you could defend yourself
Jonathan,
against it, but being nice isn't one of them.
You live in La La Land, where you say the Palestinians
one who lives in La La Land.
Well, Israel exists, but you prevent a.
Did you hear this response? Here, let's listen to this one more time.
He lives in La La Land.
Being nice isn't one of them.
You live in La La Land, where you say the.
Look at this response now. The following response.
Palestinians might prevent an Israeli state. Well, Israel exists, but you prevent a Palestinian state, take away all their freedom.
This is like talking to an absolute imbecile.
AP, I may be crazy, but haven't they been offered a state like about 1 trillion times?
Yes, the last one they rejected because they weren't totally happy with the conditions. They were also told, you better take this deal because nobody is going to give you a better deal in the future. Take it and let's make peace. Don't be stupid. And they said, no. And here we are. So here's what just happened, right? Here's what just happened. We're having a conversation here. We're having a debate here. Here's what happened. IDF Conricus said, Hamas wants Israel destroyed. If we let them, we will be all killed and destroyed. Okay, this is a fact, by the way. It's a fact. It's a fact. It is a fact. F-A-C-T. Cenk responded to this with,
you live in La La Land. You live in La La Land. Where's my yogurt?
he responded to this with, "You're saying Palestinians want to prevent Israeli state, but you have a state." Here, look at his brilliant response. This should be a case study for, I don't know, whatever field this is. So here's the IDF spokesman, Jonathan Conrick, saying, "Hamas wants Israel destroyed. If we let them, we will all be killed and destroyed." Cenk responded to this with, "You're saying Palestinians want to prevent the Israeli state, but you already have a state." What can anybody say?
Cenk's got me wishing that Muhammad Hijab were on there, really, man. The points wouldn't be any better, but it would be more entertaining. For some reason, he says dumb stuff and it's not entertaining. Some of the Dawa guys say dumb stuff and somehow it's entertaining.
Let's have a moment of silence for
Cenk's journalism career.
Yeah. No, not even for that. That's the bad thing. That's why I'm lost for words right now, because the guy's career will not be over. If we lived in a society where we saw how incompetent and stupid and dumb somebody is who is speaking in public, your society would separate the dumb ones and put them aside and say, okay, we don't elevate these guys anymore. This guy is done for good. No, you will still have thousands of people watching Cenk Uygur on the Young Turks, despite the fact that this guy responds to an argument in a worse way than most high schoolers would respond, or most, I don't know, fifth graders would respond. This doesn't necessarily show that Cenk Uygur is the problem here. It shows that
the education system has failed.
Education system,
too many people.
That lots of people, that the population is extremely stupid on average, that there are lots of stupid people who elevate people like Cenk Uygur. Maybe it has something to do with being Turkish, I don't know.
That's who I'd blame.
You take away all their rights. You kill them wantonly. Anytime you want, you destroy all of Gaza, and you pretend not to be the terrorist. So let me ask you something. Is the IDF the most incompetent military in the history of the world?
This guy is an absolutely
wantonly.
According to Cenk, they're the most incompetent military. They're trying to commit genocide, and they just suck at it.
In 2005, Israel removed all of the Israeli settlements, all of the Jewish presence in Gaza, removed them all, and left the Gaza Strip, and said, "Here you have it. Do with it what you want.
Do with it as you will.
Self-control. Have self-governance. Let's see what happens."
And by the way, we all know where that would have led. It's okay. We're backing out. Everyone says we should back out. Let you guys do things yourselves. Guess what? If they had proceeded to build and not launch endless terrorist attacks, they would have eventually had their own state. It had been offered to them a bunch of times. They denied it. But if they could have shown that they could have a place where they're not trying to completely wipe Israel off the map, they would have had their own state. And they couldn't. They couldn't do it. They're incapable. They're incapable of not attacking Israel.
What is a lie, Justin Waltz? What is a lie?
Hey, Justin, you've got your chance right now. AP is giving you your chance to explain. You can't just say, if a million things pop up on the screen and we say a million things, you just go, that's a lot. You got to be more specific. So here's what was said and show us how it's a lie. Golden opportunity.
So I just said Israel in 2005 removed the Israeli settlements, removed the Israeli Jewish presence from Gaza.
That's a
and
fact.
Pulled out of Gaza, and then said, here, self-governance.
In Islam, it's called azl. What's wrong with you?
So that's what was said. Was that a lie? Did that not happen? Please explain to me. Maybe it wasn't directed at me. Maybe it was directed at somebody else. I don't know. But that's just what I saw. So here is Hastige Hund says the Zionists never intended for there to be a Palestinian state. More Hasbara from David and Ridwan. Can you tell me where exactly you get the information from that the Zionists never intended for there to be a Palestinian state?
Yeah,
because
why did they repeatedly offer it if they didn't?
We actually have internal records, by the way, not open to the public, from the early founders of the modern state of Israel, sitting down, discussing what the official international name of the new state of Israel should be in English, and they are playing with certain thoughts, and they are saying to each other, we should probably not use the name Palestine at all, because the Arabs living alongside our border might eventually want to declare their own state, and they might want to call it Palestine. So we should just completely separate ourselves with that name and name it Israel, both in Hebrew and in English. This is an internal conversation which you can find documents of the early founders of the modern state of Israel. They were very, very well aware that the Arabs would also want to declare their own state or be united with the neighbors in one way or another, and they were cool with that, because all they wanted to do was to have their own independence. Also, since then, they made multiple offers to the Arabs to establish their own state, while agreeing to certain conditions, including not to terrorize Israel all the time. So, please, tell me, where exactly do you get this stupid ahistorical idea from that the Zionists never wanted to, a Palestinian state? Continue, please. Please tell me.
There would have been one from the beginning they would have had states side by side.
Yeah.
One side rejected that, said no, we want it all. We want the
other
whole
side didn't want it because they are something.
So let me ask you something. Is the IDF the most incompetent military in the history of the world? That they
According to you, they are.
Accidentally killed over 30,000 civilians, including over
Nobody said
over
they accidentally
30,000?
killed over 30,000 civilians, Cenk. You absolute retard.
25,000 women and children in Gaza. Are they buffoons who just cannot ever get the right target? Oh, we got a couple of Hamas guys. Oops, we killed a stadium full of women and children.
Listen,
and
the
you're
only
pretending not to
buffoon
be a
here
terrorist?
is someone who would be sitting here and doing the apologetics of Hamas. And I say that with a little respect. For you to be saying that without having lived in Israel, without having dealt with terrorists that are going after our families and women and children, without even
Have you ever lived
understanding
in
what
Gaza?
Hamas is. You compare Hamas to French resistance fighters? Seriously? You compare Hamas, a jihadi terrorist genocidal
It's an
organization
analogy.
that says, yeah, well, it's a
Because
stupid
you say
analogy.
they
There you
should
go. It's a
kill
stupid analogy.
It's an analogy. Yeah, that's the point, Cenk. I blame Piers Morgan for all of this. I mean, seriously, having the former spokesperson of the IDF, sit here and debate with this absolute imbecile who has nothing to say except
Hey, I have to say though, I got to give credit where credit is due. Hats off to Candace for keeping her stupid mouth shut for at least a couple minutes here.
Yeah, she likes to talk a lot of trash when she's on her own. When she's in her own space, she doesn't like to actually open her mouth and say all of those strong opinions that she has when she's debating somebody. She's smart about that.
Even thinking that you can compare French resistance against Nazi Germany to Hamas terrorists that are willing to burn and butcher and rape and kill Israeli
I'm not
civilians.
talking about the Hamas terrorists. I'm talking about the civilians you butchered.
We
I'm
are
talking
not
about the
butchering
civilians you
anybody.
butchered.
Are you retarded, man? Look, his his example was This is like if they were fighting the French resistance, and the French resistance was hiding among the civilian population. And while fighting the French resistance, they would also end up killing French civilians. He was comparing this to Israel fighting Hamas, and while they are fighting Hamas, ending up killing civilians as a result of the Hamas hiding among the civilians. So yes, he precisely compared the French resistance to Hamas. That's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did. And now he doesn't understand his own analogy because he's an idiot.
I want to bring in Candace
a
here.
stadium full of dead women and children, and you say that their lives don't count, right? Their lives don't count. Have you ever lived in Gaza? Have you ever lived under the terror of the Israeli state?
I want to bring in Candace to ask the
Let me
same.
say all these things that you never said. So you're saying it's good to stomp the heads off of little babies. That's what you said. Freaking idiot, man.
Which I think is a very easy question to answer. Hezbollah are wedded to constantly attacking Israel. They are an enemy of Israel, as Hamas are. So is it, as Jonathan said, fair game for Israel to have conducted this operation, which appears to...
David, do you think he will answer the question, actually?
Um,
This is the third time he's asked this question. Do you think he will answer the question?
Probably not. And even before, it's like, okay, I'll answer that. But first, let me go off on 9 different tangents. But hats off to Pierce. He has actually zeroed in. This is the real question, right? And it goes back to stuff that was happening after October 7th, where Pierce would say, okay, what should they be doing differently? That's the main question. If you're saying they should not be doing this, Israel should not be doing this, what should they be doing? How should they be approaching this differently? And whenever he would ask that question, he would get the stupidest responses ever. And so people, it's easy to say, hey, look where this is going. This is having bad consequences. Yeah, duh. War has bad consequences. Yeah. Okay. How should they be responding? If you're saying Israel is responding in a wrong way, tell us very clearly what they should be doing differently. And every answer of people who said, no, they should be doing this was completely idiotic. And so Pierce right here is doing the same thing. Okay, Hezbollah won't stop firing rockets at Israel. Some of them are actually successful. Some of them are actually killing innocent random people. Okay, how should Israel respond to that? The way they just responded was to put some 2 ounces of explosives in the pagers of the terrorist. If you're saying that's wrong, what should they be doing? How should they respond? And guess what? It's just a situation where if you follow it through to the conclusion, the answer is always they shouldn't do anything, nothing. They should take it. They should take it like good little Jews and just take whatever happens to them and never do anything in response. And okay, I think you're stupid. Stu Peters. Whoa, did Israel just nuke Lebanon? Uh-oh, Mossad has confirmed it. Yes, we nuked it. No longer exists. Don't bother looking for it.
Oh, man. That's a good account. Free Pagerstein said, NES Ivan. Free Pagerstein. Alhamdulillah. Abraham Harb. AP, you forgot the brother when mentioning the atrocity of a man. Also, as an Aussie, Swedish accents are second to Aussie Bogan accents. Wait, what do you mean, atrocity of a man? Ooh, brother. Oh, okay, yeah. I should add the soundboard so I can play it whenever I talk about Cenk Uyghur. CJ made a super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, CJ. Abu Baker said, how will Dawa guys interpret the pager operation? Where Hezbollah not being good enough jihadis? Will Dawa guys double down on the jihadi zealotry? They should all get pagers. Eli made a super chat saying, love you both. Thank you so much. Always for your help and your support and your the love and everything, Eli. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you.
Hey, next time you're on Twitter, you should check out what I just made while we were live. I just made something about Hezbollah. It's pretty dope little thing. Got the idea from Sister K.
I will check it out.
It is totally based.
Apple Baker said, do you think Mossad has hacked into Iran's nukes? Most likely, yeah. I think Mossad actually hacked into Candace's brain and Cenk's brain to make them say completely stupid things. AP, make a video breaking down the Ezra beeper operation. It would be interesting to do that, actually, yeah. Maybe I will make a video about it one day in the future. Moo Joe made a super sticker. Appreciate it very much. Hu Jintao said Mossad's real ops put Hollywood scripts to shame. Yep, that's true. That is true. Hollywood is nothing. They are softies. Drew Trade.
Yeah, I have to say, if you made a movie and the plot of the movie was taking out a bunch of terrorists by putting explosives on their phone, on their pagers, and blowing their nuts off, it would be too unbelievable a movie. It would be like, come on, that's too stupid and ridiculous. There's no way that's actually going to happen, and that would work. Never in a million years. You never pull that off. The movie's completely unbelievable. Write a better plot. And yet, it's another situation where reality is way more interesting than
you know what's the bigger irony? If that actually happened in a movie, people would walk away from the movie and be like, "Whoa, that's amazing, man!
They pulled
amazing!
It off.
Wow,
the greatest thing ever!
That's amazing! What brilliant!" And when Israel does it in real time, you're like, How could they do this? Venus and
those poor terrorist balls.
Two-tier peers. That Amber Black. I've been reading a bio about William Penn with my son, and guess who the conformist blamed for the Black Plague? The Jews. Nothing new under the sun. They did that. There were lots of people didn't understand why in the world the Black Plague was spreading. They did not get it, and they were finding different reasons to explain why the plague is spreading. One of those was the cats. One of those was lack of faith. The other was sexual issues. The other was Jews. And one of the reasons why also Jews were suspected is why are the average person is dying in much greater number and more agony than the Jewish population. There are Jews over there in this neighborhood and they're not dying that badly. Why are they not dying as badly as we are dying? This must mean that the Jews brought the plague to us deliberately to punish us or to destroy us. And these stupid things were around forever. And the majority of people who heard that at that time would have believed it.
And it would be even worse among you could still raise this among Muslims now and say, why was the plague spreading? Because of the rats. But Muhammad thought that Allah turned Jews into rats, so the rats are their friends like the trees. So the rats are sticking up for the Jews and only killing the Christians.
Yeah. And the actual reason that is taught for why Jews had lower death rates and lower infection rates was that they were generally more secluded, and that they had and because of the water washing practices and all that. That's it. But no, they thought, it's the Jews. Ari Wasserman, Candy ass scrolling YouTube this week in Jihad with Richard Spencer. That name sounds familiar. Maybe worth a watch. I remember Richard Spencer. He was based. Sees Robert Spencer and Dizzle. Skin catches on fire. Chris says, what's the main difference between Muslims and Christian marriage? Muslim and Christian marriage. When we say a Christian is robbing the cradle, we aren't being literal. Ayatollah Khamenei said, Allah, no. Hu Jintao said the milk hadith is factual. When Sneeko became Muslim, Mo Peshab also breastfed hungry Sneeko for many days. Oh, really? I didn't know that. By the way, did you see here this assassination? What again? Why can't they stop killing the guy, man? What is happening? I don't know what you mean. I don't see anything.
I don't see anything either.
Sebastian Sarstens became a YouTube channel member. Thank you so much for joining the club. Soon we will take over the world and turn everyone into Jews. Ayatollah Khamenei, 1488 radio news top start. Time to spill the tea on the Candace feud. They're probably discussing, the Nazis and the Groypers, who are also Nazis, are discussing, is Candace on your side or on our side? She's on our side, not your side. Hello Yidi said, some of the walkie-talkies that exploded the day after the pagers were at funeral of 3 Hezbollah who died from the pager exploding. Godfather-esque, Mossad mic drop. Am Israel Chai. Alhamdulillah. That's very, very good. Very solid. Very solid. Gabe said, out of all the controversial views I hold, I didn't expect not hating the Jewish people to be at the top of the list. It's really incredible, right? Right now on social media, especially on X, it has become the unpopular thing to support Jews or to not hate them. Which just gives me the idea that many, many people out there are just giant cowards. You know, lots of people who for years talked about human rights, and bigotry and hate and this and that, are now easily eating up the Islamist propaganda and jumping on the anti-Semitic wagon, including the Nazis, including the certain right-wingers, white nationalists, Muslims, and including more so many leftists, especially communists. They're the biggest plague. Let's not even talk about, I mean, the right wing is one thing, but the communists, the socialists, the leftists who are jumping on this bandwagon of hating Israel and hating Jews and calling it hating Zionism, it's just so pathetic. Bunch of cowards, man. It just shows you how when things get serious, all those who like to talk all day immediately start switching and turning into the biggest scumbags because they have no principles. That's it.
And I have to say that's one of the most important things going on right now, is like how quickly the tide can turn and how quickly people can switch and be subject to like mass manipulation, like almost overnight. And we talked before in Elie Wiesel's Night, he talks about a guy, Moshe, who was taken to a concentration camp. He actually escaped and came back to warn his town. Guys, I'm telling you what they're taken to. The people wouldn't believe him. The Jews wouldn't believe him. There's no way the Germans are doing. Are you insane? They're taking us to camps and working us to death and starving and putting us in oven. Are you a lunatic? There's no way some new leader could come along and just start doing this and all the people are going to go along with it. Are you insane? There's no way people would not do that. People could not turn that far that quickly. And turns out it actually did happen. And then we think we're past those days because, that was almost a century ago. And here, Israel was just attacked. A bunch of people were killed. They're retaliating and going back to get their hostages. And the people they're fighting against are hiding amongst civilians. So civilians are getting killed. And like everyone on social media, like, we need to wipe out Jews and wipe out Israel. And then all of a sudden the Nazis are the good guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, like how quickly that happened. Guys, it's less than a year ago. You guys, you got people who weren't saying anything 2 years ago, and now we're calling for wiping Israel out, period. No matter what Israel does. Wild stuff.
This is a very, very interesting aspect of the Holocaust, which David just mentioned, which has been reported by many scholars. I think the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem has a collection on early Jewish reactions to rumors of the Holocaust, where lots of the Jewish people inside Germany, when they were told that they are collecting Jews and killing them, were thinking, no, that can't be true. That can't be true. That can't be right. Germans, these decent, wonderful.
The guys who have all the physicists right now who are making all the breakthroughs in physics, the guys who are figuring all this stuff out, those guys are putting Jews into ovens. Seriously, Germans, the only people left who are still cranking out operas like great operas, those guys are the guys who are putting Jews into trains and then taking them off in it. Come on, man.
Can't be right now.
Dude, that was, I mean, we look back at them as like evil Nazis. At the time, they were viewed as the most enlightened people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had just had a war, and all of a sudden you're like the champions of physics and opera and the arts and all this stuff. How did this happen? How, in the name of common sense, could this happen? The most enlightened people in the world, you're saying they're rounding up Jews and slaughtering them? Come on.
Yeah, don't be ridiculous. But they were doing it. They were doing it. They were doing it. And there's a lot to say about the response of the Allies and all that, who knew very early on that the Holocaust was going on, but they didn't do anything about it. Now people want to take credit for saving the Jews. Interesting stuff. Also gives you a lot of insight into how Israel should behave today. Israel shouldn't be just listening to the so-called international community when they tell Israel what to do. The United Nations can currently just, condemn Israel and give Israel orders and tell them, oh, be careful, de-escalate, and so on, because Israel is just one people. That's it. They will never be as tough and as insisting and demanding on Muslim countries, for example, that are actually committing atrocities and actually practicing apartheid. That's it. Care about yourselves. The world doesn't care about your existence. I was going to read and say something. What was that? I don't know. I forgot. Elon says Hezbollah is religiously motivated and fights for Al-Aqsa. It uses Palestine just to legitimize staying armed minority. Other groups disarmed in 1989. This is true. Ayatollah Khamenei, Ernst Röhm, Nick Fuentes is the gayest Nazi I have ever seen. Our Dominic made a super sticker. Thank you so much. Legimithy Gayon said, I can't stand her casual, ridiculous lies. She lies through her teeth. What manner of dolt follows her? Lots of dolts out there, man. Lots of dolts out there. All right, let's see what else happens here.
To have been almost, and I use that phrase very advisedly, almost exclusively against Hezbollah terrorists.
Actually, let's have the question once again here.
Important question. And again, hats off to Pierce for, since last year, he's done a bunch of dopey stuff, loses control regularly, but he does keep bringing it back in two different battles here. He brings it back to a very important question. What is it okay to respond in this way? And if it isn't, what should they be doing in response? And
Thank you for clarifying the question again, David. That's exactly why I was going to play this part again.
I'm giving credit where credit is due, because normally you're like, what the heck is wrong with Pierce, man? But for some reason, his brain works in this area of bringing it back to the most important thing.
I think he's still terrible.
Israel. They are an enemy of Israel, as Hamas are. So is it, as Jonathan said, fair game for Israel to have conducted this operation, which appears to have been almost, and I use that phrase very advisedly, almost exclusively against Hezbollah terrorists?
He said ball.
If the operation was targeted almost exclusively at Hezbollah operatives and it was surgical,
then why didn't they do that against Hamas?
Has a right when it's being attacked to launch an attack back at the operatives that are attacking them. That's a very easy answer for me. And I take, by the way, Jonathan, great exception to you painting me as some like broad defender of Middle Eastern. You said the Palestinian people. I just defend innocent life. And so whether it's October 7th and Israeli children being killed and Israeli children being taken away, I used my platform to say how wrong it was and people were pulling down the signs. And I'm also feeling just as strongly about the Palestinian women and children. And I don't like when people try to conflate humanity as some political position that's against the Jews or against the Palestinians. At the end of the day, the preservation of life is what needs to come first.
Okay, Candace, then why did you, on the day of the operation, on September 17th and 18th, why did you then make a bunch of tweets and retweets explicitly demonizing and condemning Israel for the operation, and also depicting them as a great evil, and those who fail to call out Israel as traitors and demonic? Exactly. If you think that this is totally fine, why in the world did you on that day condemn Israel and also describe as demons anyone who stood by Israel? What changed?
Yeah,
Did
this
you not
remind
know anything on that day and now you suddenly know because you are an absolutely incompetent idiot of a journalist?
this reminds me of politicians who they'll spend years doing these stupid, disastrous things, and then when you call them on that, suddenly they have the exact opposite position, and they're all about just bringing people together and peace and everything. It's like your actions show that you are not what you were saying right now. And so when it's brought up to, of course, Israel has a right to defend itself. I'm just against, I'm just for life. I'm just for life. That's it. That's my only position. That's all I'm about. I'm about for life. I celebrate life. I love life. And so I don't like death. And that's the only thing. But of course, Israel has a right to defend itself. And yet when they're actually doing it, she does nothing but complain and blame them.
And she also doesn't think that Israel should exist, by the way. She thinks that Israel was created by a child-eating, blood-drinking cult, and so on. Which, of course, for some reason, she doesn't want to bring up when she's talking to the IDF spokesman. Maybe because she's intimidated by his
Chin.
jaw and chin. Yeah.
And I don't feel if you did this in Lebanon, great. I'm happy for that. I don't think that has been your priority in Gaza. And I
What? She just said great. She's happy.
Is there, but that's not a condemnation against Jews or the Jewish people. It's a condemnation against Netanyahu's government, which I think has become somewhat radicalized. And I think that's a fair critique given the fact that you have so many Israelis that are taking to.
Why did she even bring this up? Did he say anything about Jews there?
All he asked, wasn't it, was Hezbollah has been launching a bunch of missiles at them for a very long time. They responded in a very coordinated, very sophisticated, very surgical fashion in a way that almost exclusively Hezbollah terrorists were on the receiving end of anything that happened. Is that okay? Sure, it's fine, even though all I've done is complain about it since it happened. But
against Jews or the great. I'm happy for that.
Right.
I don't needs to come first. And I don't feel if you did this in Lebanon, great. I'm happy for that. I don't think that has been your priority in Gaza. And I use my platform to say how wrong I think what's happening is there. But that's not a condemnation against Jews or the Jewish people. It's a condemnation against Netanyahu's government, which I think has become somewhat radicalized. And I think that's a fair critique given the fact
she's only against the government, not against Jews in general.
Look, this woman has no ounce of consistency or integrity or self-awareness. Or
what are you
whatever it
talking
is.
about? She's oozing integrity like Cenk is oozing whatever comes out of him during these interviews.
She has no single drop of integrity. She is an absolute liar when it comes to this. And here, look at this. Look at what she thinks about Israel.
Country. I know you've read like the short version in the classroom, and it was like, oh, the Holocaust happened, and then we realized that Israel needs a state. No, that's not how it went down. That's not how it went down at the F all. Okay, Catholics and Christians were going missing on Passover, and then they would find bodies. Okay, across.
Why did she say Catholics and Christians? From a Catholic position,
and she is Catholic now.
Yeah, she is Catholic. Why did she distinguish between Catholics and Christians? I don't understand.
So she believes she left Christianity when she became a Catholic. Look at the you missed her crazy eyes, man.
Christians were going missing on Passover, and then they would find bodies, okay, across Europe, and they were able to trace them back to Jews. Blood libel.
Yes, it is blood libel. Thank you for acknowledging the blood libel. Thank you for acknowledging it.
They weren't Jews, okay? These were Frankists. And so just like Leo Frank killed Mary Fagan.
Yes. So in in the 11th century, or in the 12th century, when somebody went missing, and it happened to be around the time of Passover, which also happened to be around the time of Easter, somebody went missing and was then actually reported by a Jew. the body was found and reported by a Jew, right? And the authorities came in and people started blaming the Jews, although the Jew himself came out and reported the body. This was actually not Jews, it was the Frankists. The Frankists who came into existence in the 18th century. Who are an offshoot of the Sabbateans, who followed a little cult that Jews rejected and Jewish rabbis condemned as non-Jewish. This is so ridiculously stupid, and she is basically just saying these things to get away with reiterating that it was Jews who did it. Just, I'm not saying Jews, I'm saying Frankists, who actually came into existence much later.
On Passover back in 1913 or 1914, I can't remember the exact date. He did it during Passover for a reason. This Frankist cult, which is masquerading behind Jews, still participates in this shit to this day, okay? Why would you want, as a small nation that is the size of New Jersey, okay, why would you want the pedophiles to flee there? Like, why would you want the pedophiles to be procreating? Unless the nation of Israel may have been established by some Frankists. And it's looking like Theodore Herzl's family was from the exact same area in Moravia and in Bohemia where the Frankist cult was founded.
There was actually a huge distance between them, and the Frankists were not associated with doing these things. The Frankists there are still some of them around, are an extreme sect who actually reject Jewish teachings and practices and think and believe in liberating themselves of all the Jewish laws. That's actually who they are. And they are rejected. They are not associated with all of these blood libels. This is all so stupidly disconnected. She's just completely making this stuff up here. She's completely fabricating nonsensical stuff and connecting completely unconnected, unrelated things to each other. Leo Frank had nothing to do with the Frankists, aside from the fact that his name is Frank. Next, I'm surprised she didn't also bring up, Anne Frank as also a Frankist.
It's weird. Like what she's saying right here, it's like the verbal version of the guy who has all the pictures on the wall, like connected with all the yarn and thumbtacks and stuff like that. It's like that. It's like, because over here, look at this. This person has a name named Frank, and this group's called the Frankists. So they're working with this. And if you look over here, they're kind of on the same side of the globe with this other group. So obviously they're working together. And all of a sudden, long story short, there's a whole nation of pedophiles.
It's the Charlie meme. It's the Pepe Silva meme. It's this here. This is what she sounds like. This is exactly what she sounds like.
Dude, you should Photoshop Candace's face.
I should. Pepe Silva. Yeah, whatever.
Crazy.
Crazy, yes, you're crazy.
Crazy. When you get into his family, that made...
So Shia was saying here, just a few weeks ago, by the way, that Israel is the product of this crazy child sacrifice cult that has been killing Christians. They were the ones who established Israel, and they are still in charge of Israel. And Theodor Herzl himself, who, by the way, was a brilliant guy, was also one of those child sacrifice guys. And this is basically what Israel is. And now suddenly she has a completely different message.
Yeah, it's totally
That's not a condemnation against Jews or the Jewish people. It's a condemnation against Netanyahu's government, which I think has become somewhat radicalized. And I think that's a fair critique given the fact.
It is about Netanyahu's government, which has become somewhat radicalized. So it's just this government that has become this problem. Wait a minute, but didn't you just say a few weeks ago that the whole Israeli nation, the Israeli state, the Israeli nation was a cult established for these sick, perverted things, which you connected somewhere in your head from rumors that you heard here and there?
fact that you have so many Israelis that are taking to the street protesting him, as well as the families of the people who are hostages who have been protesting him and speaking out, as well as some of the most prominent Jews in America, like Ari Emanuel, who is a Zionist.
By the way, Jews in Israel, Israelis in Israel are not protesting Netanyahu because they think, oh, we shouldn't be fighting a war. We shouldn't be killing people. No violence anymore. We don't want war no more. And the operation against Hezbollah was wrong. It was indiscriminate. And Gaza, no, we don't want that stuff. Forget about the hostages. Just make peace. This is not why people are protesting. They're protesting because of the extension of the war, because of the duration of the war, because of the unclear trajectory of the war, because of the end goals that seem to be unclear to them as they look to the government from their perspective, and so on. They disagree on certain aspects of what the government is doing, which is why even certain people in the Israeli government, like Benny Gantz, for example, rejected working further with the Netanyahu government, not because he believes that Israel shouldn't be doing any of these things, but because he thinks we need a clear picture on what exactly we are going to do right now about the hostages and about the post-war situation in Gaza and so on. It's not people saying, this is a radical government, that's why we are protesting now.
Has said that he thinks what Bibi Netanyahu is doing is selfish. So I think it's important to separate what is fair critique and an understandable emotion that people are having, seeing so many dead Palestinian children on their screens every day on X and on Instagram. And I know, Piers, you are also being tagged in these photos of mothers mourning and screaming. It's wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. Jonathan, specifically for you, is a breaking story that the Israeli Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, has declared the start of a new phase, his words, of war as the IDF turns attention to the northern front with Lebanon. Now, that's a massive escalation in what is already a deeply turbulent situation. Can Israel conduct wars on all these different fronts?
Yeah, I will, of course, answer that. And I'll reflect on what you said before, Candace. I appreciate your words. And I think that I agree with you on protecting human life, dignity of human beings. I think we're in total agreement. And if
that's why we destroy terrorists.
Humane purposes, I commend it, and that's great. And full stop, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Regarding the current situation in Lebanon, just before coming on, I saw that tweet, and I think what Defense Minister Gallant is doing is messaging to the US and to Tehran.
Man, this guy is so he has this he is so he doesn't have this personal gripe and this whole urge to just get back at her for the dumb thing she just said. He's just letting it go and saying
he could have handled that. He could have handled that very differently. He could have said, "Oh, come on, Candace, come on, seriously, you're just all about life. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that?" Could have done that instead. Oh, that's great, Candace. Hey, then we have this common ground. That's great. And then she's like, thank you. And then he moves on to what's really most important here. Because guess what? He understands what's most important here is not Candace or Cenk or making them look bad or any of that stuff. He understands. He keeps his eyes on what's most important here.
This is actually a masterful move, honestly.
This is a masterclass, man. This is a masterclass in speaking.
If I was there, I would not let that go, and I would get back at Candace again, and I would try to bury her on this.
You'd be calling Cenk a loser, and it would have just been derailed, and it would have looked like Muhammad Hijab versus Rabbi Shmuley sort of situation if you were in there. But this guy, he's keeping it calm. He's making sure he
knows that she's full of it, and
he knows it. He knows that.
He knows what she did.
100%. He knows.
He has a lot to say about what she just said about the horrible stuff, but he is mature and focused enough to simply be like, okay, whatever, let's move on and let's get to this topic. Man, that's pretty good.
Masterclass.
Maybe Rabbi Shmuley should watch this guy more and learn something from him.
And to Beirut, that Israel is getting closer and that the level of frustration within Israel with the current unsustainable situation of more than 70,000 Israeli civilians that have been pushed out of their homes and tens of Israeli...
But what about the Palestinians!
That are now ghost towns because Hezbollah has been attacking them directly, and these areas are unsafe to live in. And for 11 months, and I'm sure that many people don't know it because it's not really reported a lot in international media, but Israeli civilians have been targeted by Hamas for about a year, and people are saying enough. For how long are we going to have to live in temporary housing in other places of Israel? And when will the Israeli government make sure that it is safe to live in sovereign Israel? And
the Israeli government keeps trying to tell people that that they are working on bringing the population back to where they belong, to where they need to live, to where they are living, back to their homes, and so on. Trying to calm people down because people have been living in hotels, in established little communities, because they were evacuated from the northern border, and others from the border with Gaza, for example. Lots of them, hundreds of thousands of them actually initially. Currently, it is down to less than 100,000 people, I think. But you don't see Israel crying about this all the time. You don't see Israel crying about this all the time, which is why you don't hear about it. But you have the numbers of some place, how many people are.
That's what he's only bringing it up because he's asked about it, right? Why is Israel now focusing on the north in the battle with Hezbollah? And he's pointing out we can't just sit there forever and do nothing and have all our people aren't allowed into their homes because they're getting bombs dropped on them. We've tried to get Hezbollah to stop for the past year. They won't stop. Now we have to make them stop. It seems pretty straightforward. I mean, can anyone imagine a situation where, like, let's say the United States just sat there and let someone bomb them for a year and didn't go in and make them stop?
Of course.
And then you go in and make them stop and you make it surgically precise and you just blow up some pagers or something like that. And then everyone, oh, shame on the United States. Shame on them.
How could you do this?
You got bombed for a year and then you blow up 2 ounces of explosives and some pagers. Oh my goodness. Shame on you.
Here, at one point, there were between 200 and 500,000 Israelis were displaced as a result of this war. Right now, it says in Israel, families advocate for the release of the estimated 97 people still held hostage in Gaza. Over 100,000 Israelis remain internally displaced, including dozens of communities near the Gaza Strip and along the border with Lebanon. So the border with Lebanon because of Hezbollah. Over 100,000 Israelis are still at this point, at this moment, displaced and live away from the border because Hezbollah keeps firing at them. And guess what? Just a few days ago, Hezbollah actually made a statement about this. According to none other than the terrorist news organization, Al Jazeera. They told us directly that Hezbollah said the following here. This is directly from Al Jazeera. Nasrallah, in his speech, said the following things. We reaffirm that the resistance in Lebanon will not stop supporting Gaza. Attacks on Tuesday and Wednesday will meet with a just punishment. And thirdly, look at this. Thirdly, we will make sure Israeli settlers will not be able to return to the north. This is what Hezbollah says. This is what Nasrallah says. This is what the terrorists say. They know exactly that they're targeting civilians, and they're proud of it. They are proud of it, and they openly say it.
We're proud of that.
Yeah.
Look, we will make sure they cannot return to the north. Yeah. We'll make sure you can't carry a pager, sport.
I think that's a very basic, very legitimate claim of a civilian population that says enough. We want to go back to our homes. We haven't done anything to deserve this. And I think that there's been a long process of building this up. And to answer the question, yes, Israel can. It'll be tough. It will be, I think, very, very difficult. And it will be a horrible war. If Israel and Hezbollah go all out against each other. Hezbollah is a very powerful Iranian proxy with tens of thousands of rockets, with the ability and intention to hit and kill thousands of Israeli civilians. And of course, Israel will not be taking that sitting down, and Israel will retaliate. And I'm not going to be surprised to see you and perhaps other people first condemning Israel.
What is Cenk shaking his head at again? I'm really wondering.
You know, if Pierce says, Cenk, but you said they don't feel safe in their homes, so they're displaced from their homes. What about the Palestinians?
Why did you kill 400,000 children in Gaza?
Yeah, and it never crosses his mind. Cenk, why do you have that problem? And why? Israel pulled out. Israel was completely willing to mind its own business. They came to kill a bunch of Jews. Then they had a problem in their houses. And now it's Hezbollah attacking. Hezbollah's attacking. Israel's responding. Who seems to be stirring up the pot here?
Alhamdulillah.
Israel for defending itself, and then maybe thinking why Israel is doing it. What is happening is that Hezbollah has fired more than 5,000 rockets at Israel in the past months alone. They have gone a bit unnoticed by international media, and perhaps Israel now is saying enough is enough and we're going to defend ourselves. And if Hezbollah didn't get the message the first time with the beepers, maybe they'll be getting it today with the walkie-talkies. And if they don't get those two messages and understand that they have transgressed and are aggressing against Israeli civilians too much, then maybe perhaps more needs to happen. I, as an Israeli, hope that we won't need to go to that situation, because I know that it will be bad. There will be bloodshed. It will be carnage in Israel and in Lebanon. It is still avoidable. And those who need to stop firing are Hezbollah, who have been firing at Israel for the last 11 months without anybody really condemning it or doing anything about it.
Okay. Thank you, Jonathan. Cenk, I'll give you the final word on this part of the debate, and then
you're giving this dope the final word. But what about Gaza? They're displaced.
Just from a little bit of now we're going to hear the least intelligent things again coming from him. Oh, wait a minute, is he going to kick Cenk out of this after a while? I hope so.
Oh wait, then he kicks them both off. Then he just has a discussion with Candace.
Well, Jonathan is actually in the studio with him, so the others are only are remote. I think Jonathan is with him in the studio.
You see,
after it's just me and you.
So see, the Jews control the studio.
Just Cenk, your response to what Jonathan just said there. Clearly, this is a massive escalation already. Nobody's quite sure how Hezbollah is going to respond. But as Jonathan said, they are equipped to, if they go all out, to have a proper, massive, major war with Israel, which would have enormous repercussions for the whole region. What is your thought about that prospect?
Yeah. So first of all, there is a correct path here. Take the ceasefire, stop the.
Oh my God!
Shut up, Cenk. Why are you even playing this clown? Take the ceasefire. And what are the conditions of the ceasefire? Let Hamas go. Let Hamas off the hook. That's it. That's the ceasefire. We'll give you the remaining hostages back, and you let Hamas slide to regroup and attack you again, as they have vowed to do. That's the ceasefire that's on the table, Cenk. And again, we've pointed this out numerous times. The takeaway message, if Israel did that, if Israel said, you know what, let's just go ahead. There's been enough loss of life. Let's grant the ceasefire now. The takeaway, the overarching message to terrorists around the world and to all future generations of terrorists is, if you go in and slaughter a bunch of people and rape a bunch of people and torture a bunch of people and take a bunch of hostages and execute a bunch of hostages and so on, and you just hide for a little while, you get to go free. No repercussions. That's what Cenk, that's the message that Cenk wants broadcast to the entire world.
Are equipped to, if they go all out, to have a proper, massive
massacre
with Israel, which would have enormous repercussions for the whole region. What is your thought about that prospect?
Yeah. So first of all, there is a correct path here. Take the ceasefire.
We have made one correct prediction here, which is to the question here about Hezbollah and what Israel should be doing with Hezbollah. His immediate response was about Hamas. His immediate response was ceasefire with Hamas. And I just want to let him speak for a little bit before I get to how absolutely insane that is, and how I hope that there is nothing to make a ceasefire with anymore in the very near future.
Stop the occupation, 2 states, and let both Israel and the Palestinians live in peace and freedom.
None of this
Now,
is related to
Netanyahu can-
Hezbollah. Sorry to interrupt, but none of this is related to Hezbollah.
It's 100% related to Hezbollah.
No, it
You
isn't.
pretend like
Hezbollah, this
Hezbollah's
Iranian
doing
proxy
it out
has
of
nothing
thin
to
blue
do
air.
with
Can I answer?
Palestinians. Hezbollah has
Can I
nothing
answer?
to do with Palestinians. They are Lebanese.
That's
They are Shiite
that's
Lebanese. They have
preposterous.
nothing to do with Palestinians.
Preposterous.
They have
You think they're
nothing to
just
do with
bombing you out of
Palestinians. There's
nowhere?
not a single Palestinian in Hezbollah. So for you to tie it to Hamas is ridiculous.
you're
It is
being
whitewashing.
ridiculous.
It's the old tired propaganda
Ridiculous.
against
You-
Israel. You have to be
okay, let
honest and address the situation. Hezbollah has
Okay,
nothing to do with
Hezbollah
Palestinians.
is doing it because of the occupation. Are you so
nothing
stupid
to
you
do
don't
with it.
understand
None
that?
of Hezbollah's business.
Yeah. Let me break this down.
Wait. He just called me
Hezbollah and
stupid.
Hezbollah and Hamas both hate Jews. That's what they have in common. Don't think that Hezbollah's like, what? Those poor Palestinians. We have to rush to their defense. That's not why Hezbollah is fighting. Hezbollah is attacking because, now Israel seems vulnerable. They're fighting down here. This is a good time to attack. That. And if we're attacking on multiple sides, we have a better chance of wiping Israel off the map. That's the connection here, Cenk. Hezbollah is not fighting because they care about Palestinians.
Okay, so Cenk here has the audacity to call somebody who seems to be smarter than both Cenk and Candace combined. If you smash their heads together, this guy would be significantly more intelligent. He calls this guy stupid. He asks this guy if he's stupid. He's also implying here that that Israel should be intimidated by Hezbollah, which jumps into the equation in order to try and influence Israel's decisions by firing at them. They believe in eliminating Israel permanently and forever, and also believe in realizing the goal of killing the Jews entirely. This is what Hezbollah believes in. And they are currently using the opportunity and saying, we will keep firing until you stop occupying Palestinians. We will keep firing until they make a ceasefire with Hamas. And Hamas also has the goal of destroying Israel and killing all of the Jews. Yes. Recently, Hamas made a statement and said, we are actually ready to make a 5-year ceasefire deal. Okay, this is what Hamas said. And some idiots actually came out of their holes and were like, look, Hamas is ready to make peace. Hamas is ready to make peace. Israel doesn't want peace. Okay, they want Israel to submit to their standards and make a ceasefire deal, and then promise to be at peace with Israel for 5 years, not in order to then reach a permanent peace deal, because they think for 5 years we will not attack you, and then we will go on. And they will return to their ultimate goal, which is to destroy Israel entirely and to take all of the region and to kill the Jews. They have never moved an inch from this position. They have still, to this day, after the start of this war in 2013, after October 7, in 2024, 2023 and 2024, repeatedly said that they see no other alternative aside from the complete destruction of the state of Israel. That's repeatedly what they said. This is what Ghazi Hamad himself, who was spokesperson for Hamas, he went on TV after October 7, and he reiterated that once again. In fact, I should have that somewhere. Let me see. So far, I can only find a screenshot. Where's the video? Should have the video somewhere. Anyway, he said, we will teach Israel a lesson. We will do it again and again and again. Where's the video? I had the video somewhere. In the video, he says, in the interview, he said that there is no other solution except that Israel is entirely and completely destroyed, that Israel cannot exist, that Israel is illogical, Israel must be wiped out. He said this as the Hamas spokesperson in 2023 after October 7. So, and you expect Israel to just sit down with Hamas and say, okay, well, whatever your conditions are, Hamas, yeah, sure, we accept. We just want a peace deal. We just want a ceasefire deal. Whatever your conditions are, we just want to do that, yeah. And what Hamas wants, by the way, is for Israel to completely back out of Gaza, to go behind the borders again, and to let Hamas rebuild and prepare for another invasion of Israel. I have to be very, very honest here. If Israel actually agreed to this, if any Israeli government actually agreed to this, I would say this Israeli government is evil and messed up and incredibly stupid. And this Israeli government does not care about the survival of their own population. That's what I would say and think, because that's basically what it boils down to. If you make a ceasefire deal with Hamas, if you agree to their conditions, if you're bullied by Hezbollah and agree to their conditions, then you are basically letting your guard down and giving the terrorists who believe in killing you, wiping you out forever, another chance to build and to prepare for another attempt at wiping out your entire population. If the government actually did something like that, this would mean that this government is evil and they don't care about their own population. And then Israelis would need to stand up and say, no, we don't trust this government. We don't want a deal. There are some people, even among the Israeli population, who think, okay, maybe it's time for ceasefire. Some people on the fringe left, for example. They don't know what they are dealing with, okay? Jews, if you are listening, Israelis, if you're listening, they don't care. Your enemy does not care about who you are. Your enemy does not care about what your ideological stances are, what party you vote for, what policies you pursue in Israel. They don't care about any of these things at all. Okay, they don't care if you are somebody who generously donates to Gazans, who goes to the border to volunteer and help them. They don't care if you are if you take care of Gazan families, if you take them to hospitals, if you give them your stuff, if you advocate on their behalf. They don't care about any of this. They want you dead. They don't care about how your politics are. This is exactly what they did to those who were living in the kibbutzim at the border, who helped Gazans for years. They came in and killed those people first. Yes, they came in and attacked those communities that helped them first. Those who helped the Gazans were the first who were killed brutally in their own homes by the Islamists and their allies in Gaza, because they are savages. They are animals. They are animals, and they believe that you have no right to live. They religiously believe that the day will come that you will all be wiped out. They believe they should be the ones to wipe you out. They do not care where you stand politically. You should never, ever even think of giving them a chance and giving them a hand and do a ceasefire with them. Never. The only solution here would be to wipe out Hamas and any other allied organization like Palestinian Islamic Jihad, PFLP, and so on, and to never ever give them a chance to build up and to attack you one more time. Because no matter what they say, the ultimate goal of them is always to wipe you out. The majority of the, and sorry to say this is not even about the terrorist organizations anymore. The majority of the Palestinian populations in Gaza and in the West Bank believe that even if they make a deal with Israel temporarily, for a Palestinian independence, eventually they should continue until all of the land, all of the land from the river to the sea belongs to them. This is what the polls said even before October 7th. Don't even think about it. Don't care about the United Nations and the international community. They will let you die. They will let you die and then make movies about you.
Nothing to do with Hezbollah.
Oh,
Who
all the
appointed
Muslims.
them?
Watch us.
Who appointed
1.6
Hezbollah? Who appointed Hezbollah other than their Iranian masters to have anything to say about Israel and Palestinians? What have Lebanese militias got to do with it?
You don't want peace. I know.
Of
You want
course
to
we do.
occupy.
Who doesn't want peace?
What does Hezbollah have to do with it?
I got it.
Hezbollah doesn't have a
Okay,
say.
so-
It's not their business. It's Israel and Palestinians. If you were to say, take a ceasefire with Hamas, I would say that's a valid topic to discuss. What does Hezbollah have to do with Palestinians? Absolutely nothing. The only thing that they have in common is that they are
You think
funded by
Hezbollah is
Iran.
attacking Israel out of...
This guy's a man child, man.
Cenk thinks that guy sounds insane.
This guy's a child.
Yeah. That guy sounds completely sane. Cenk sounds completely unhinged. Candace sounds sane in here, as long as this is the only thing you know about her and you don't, you haven't seen everything else she says about the issue. But yeah, Cenk.
Cenk, you are a child.
Why bring him on here? Why does he do it? I mean, I can't even imagine he generates many views anymore.
You have the brain of a child, Cenk. I was asked months ago to give some of my information to peers to be invited on the show, and I just didn't have the will to put down a summary for myself and to hand it in to him. Maybe I'll just work on that tonight.
I'll put that info down for him and send it off. My name is the Apostate Prophet.
Oh man.
Thin blue air? Do you actually genuinely believe that Hezbollah is attacking Israel for no reason at all, just because they don't like Jews? No, they're attacking you because of the occupation. Are you so...
Yeah, and you think that Israel should just listen to Hezbollah because of what they're doing. So yeah, if America suddenly gets attacked by some other force that also, by the way, believes in destroying you forever, as Hezbollah also believes, Hezbollah has in their official statements, death to America, death to Israel. So if another organization actually comes at America and says, we will attack you as long as you do not do this one thing that we want, then we're supposed to just give in to their demands. That's what Cenk is saying here. Cenk is a traitor. That's what he is.
What do you think's going through Candace's blank mind there? Anything? Or just,
she's probably thinking,
how can I defend Andrew Tate against the latest things?
Well, she might be thinking one of two things, which is, wow, like Cenk is really being so stupid right here and even dumber than me. And
hey, it's good having Cenk on here because I look more hinged.
Also, I wonder about the whole dinosaur story. Dinosaurs? I don't think they actually existed.
Incredibly ignorant that you don't understand that simple
concept? The only ignorant person here is you, my esteemed colleague to the panel, to be parroting Iranian talking points and...
It's exactly what I would expect from a man who is Turkish. Oh,
my esteemed colleague to the panel.
Yeah, blah 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 blah. I know everything is terrorist.
Israel can't even make a coherent
Israel
claim.
can murder anyone they like, but they're not terrorists. I know.
What has Hezbollah got to do with Palestinians? Nothing, except that they have the same benefactor, Iran, that is providing them weapons. Nothing else. No.
So this is what Cenk is saying. Basically, Cenk is saying, well, if Hezbollah is firing missiles at your civilian population, then you should just listen to their demands and give in. That's it.
Logical connection, no religious connection, no territorial connection, nothing. Only empty talking points from people like you and from Iranian parrots. That's it.
Yeah. I know. Poor victim Israel. Oh, they just have been humiliated and oppressed and occupied for 57 long years. 5.5 million Muslims, and they're outraged to find out that other Muslims might not love that idea. So this, look, guys, peers, this is the most important part of this.
Cenk Uyghur here is once again presenting this idiotic narrative that the Palestinians have been occupied for 50-something years. Did Israel want to do that? Did Israel want to occupy certain aspects of the Palestinian population? Did they want to occupy certain territories? Okay, let's say, objectively speaking, Gaza was not occupied. It is right now occupied. Deal with it, because it's a war. Okay, Gaza was not occupied since 2005. Gaza was blockaded, and borders were controlled by Israel and by Egypt, not just Israel. For some reason, nobody wants to talk about Egypt. Nobody wants to ask why Egypt is in on the genocide and the occupation. If Israel was occupying Gaza, then so was Egypt by controlling the borders. Egypt and Israel both agreed that they should be blockading Gaza because Gaza is a ticking time bomb and is dangerous because of Hamas. Both of these countries, both of these nations together have collaborated for 20 years now in blockading Gaza. Okay, with, by the way, the approval of Jordan at times, and also with the approval of the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. They also confirmed that it's probably a good idea to blockade Gaza. Now they're acting like they have nothing to do with this at all, like it's all just Israel committing genocide. On the other hand, the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, has been partly occupied by Israel for 50 somewhat years as a result of them fighting on behalf of or under Jordan against Israel, an aggressive war multiple times, instead of simply making peace and building and declaring their country and recognizing each other and so on. This is why they came under Israeli occupation, partial occupation. Before they were under Israeli partial occupation, they were, by the way, annexed by Jordan. Yes. It wasn't a separate country. It was part of Jordan. Jordan occupied that place after Israel declared independence and kept it, held on to it. And despite calls by other Arab nations to let it go, said, nope, it's part of Jordan now. And we have officially hereby annexed the West Bank. It is now part of Jordan, and we are giving all of the West Bank Palestinians Jordanian citizenship. It was then that Israel stepped in after wars and took control of that little piece of land. It wasn't a Palestinian country. This whole Palestinian country idea only came into existence in the 80s, long after Israel took control of that land. So, as a result of all of this, did Israel choose to occupy these Palestinian territories, brutally occupy them? No, they didn't. In fact, they were forced, if anything, to take control of these lands, and even under their, in fact, it was only under Israeli control that Gaza and the West Bank were ever given the right to have some form of self-governance and authority. They didn't have this right under Egypt, and they didn't have this right under Jordan. Israel gave them the right to govern themselves. And I'm going to say it, maybe they shouldn't have done that ever. Maybe they should have never, ever considered it. Of course, Cenk, I don't think that Cenk actually knows about any of this. He does not know anything. He doesn't know the history. He doesn't know anything. All he knows is, you're stupid! You're stupid! You're insane! You're insane! You're racist!
Right now, the reason I brought up the ceasefire is you could take the ceasefire, and I guarantee you that Hezbollah stops the rocket attacks. That's because that's what they've said, our experts say,
I guarantee you. Okay.
every single expert in the world says. But instead of taking the ceasefire, what Netanyahu has decided is in order to protect his own political career, and he's deeply unpopular in Israel and faces corruption charges, but if he signs the ceasefire, the right-wing radicals in his government will...
God, I really admire this guy's patience, man.
leave the government, and Netanyahu will go to election and lose. So he's worried about his own political career. So he has decided to go to war instead. Instead of signing a peace deal, he bombed Hezbollah. Now you.
What a stupid idea, Cenk. What a ridiculously stupid idea. Did the war change anything about Netanyahu's popularity? Sorry, let me rephrase the question. Did the war make Netanyahu more popular?
Yeah, did it help him? No.
No. On the contrary, it made Netanyahu more unpopular because people started blaming him, and people also keep getting more and more distressed as the war continues with the government and demand some change. None of this is helping Netanyahu at all.
Yeah, AP, tell me if you have the same vibe from Netanyahu right now. He understands he's got a lot of public opinion against him, and that he's not going to have a much of a future politically after that. To me, it seems like he's saying, look, whatever happens to me, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this done. I don't care what happens to me after this, but I'm not going out leaving people in this messed up situation. I'm going to finish what needs to be finished, and whatever happens to me afterwards happens to me afterwards. That's what he seems like. So he seems to understand. Yeah, this is not going to go well for my future right now, but I'm going to get it done anyway. And so it's like the exact opposite of what Cenk thinks.
Yeah. There was actually a poll on this, on Israelis were asked how they feel about the war, about the government, and so on. I shall bring that up for a second. Let me see if there's something you can answer. Whereas Candace's whiteboard said Fox McCloud. Hu Jintao said Cenk looks so constipated since attack on Hezbollah. He hasn't pooped since then. Benjamin, he's afraid because he has a pager by Hezbollah. Benjamin Fairhall, he Nazis were responsible for every death in Europe is accepted. Hamas is responsible for every death in Gaza. True. Mumu Joe, me thinking logically is what that she said is.
Yeah. That's what she said. That is funny.
Yeah.
And me just here thinking logically, like I always do. Let's talk about the Frankists, okay?
But Candace isn't white. Well, she's a Nazi still. Doesn't change anything. Sebastian Sarsten said Osho talked about low IQ people based on Candace.
Osho. Good description of Candace.
Osho. Ayatollah Khamenei, as a Serb, I love seeing this Turk on Turk roasting with AP kebabbing Cenk. You're a Serb?
That's the debate everyone wants to see. The all Turk debate. AP versus Cenk.
You are a Serb? I didn't know this, Ayatollah Khamenei. I had no idea that you should have said something about this earlier on. I could have formulated my opinions on you and whether to have you on here or not long in the past, But anyway, thanks for telling me. Jacob In says, I'm frustrated that Israel is sacrificing economically and politically while Iran strengthens ties with Russia and China without facing consequences. Does this bother you too? It does. And for that, we thought always glad that Israel has strong allies. Unfortunately, the alliances currently don't turn out to be very promising and, satisfactory, which is a shame.
It is rough for the future because Israel's Iron Dome works pretty well, but it's intercepting missiles from Iran, intercepting missiles from Hezbollah, intercepting rockets from Hamas. Everything Israel fires costs money, and so they don't have an unlimited supply, right? That they have to pay for this somehow. So that's part of the goal. That's part of the goal for the groups, the various groups, Hezbollah and Hamas and all these and everyone who's attacking is we can eventually wear them down and they run out of the ability to pay for their own defense and so on. So, yeah.
So, yes, let's see. Fox McCloud, funny if the IDF spokesman gifted her a pager.
That would have been funny for both of them. And just so you know, I have pagers for both of you. It's a gift from me. Send them to your house. Give me your address.
Ayatollah Khamenei, goon Lord Edward Snowden got catfished by a Russian pole dancer. LOL. Why do we care what he has to say? Are you joking about that detail entirely? Because I don't actually know how who set him up and how he got into that whole thing. I need to look more into those details. But the funny thing about Edward Snowden is that he became a hero to many people who, by just being somebody who blows, because he's a whistleblower. You know? Cam says Candace is so smart. She got the idea of smartphones from Kingsman. See Samuel Jackson Fault, inshallah. Yeah, I remember watching that movie on a plane. Mike's Viking Fitness. Do William Lane Craig versus Mohammed Hijab debate next. There are some aspects of it which I want to review, actually, in more detail. Maybe we shall.
Wait, the Craig versus Hijab debate?
Yes.
We could just go through the whole thing or any relevant parts if we wanted to.
Go the whole thing. Maybe we could.
I still haven't watched it except for the clips we saw on Cameron's show.
You didn't watch the debate, the most important debate of the century, and you haven't watched it?
Well, I heard it was Hijab going, but what about two matches? What about two matches? Two matches make one bigger match together. You see, this is the proof.
It's so ridiculous, man. It's the dumbest thing I've heard from Mohammed Hijab, and that is really that's really something. But he actually suggested that William and Craig's example doesn't make sense because two candles make a bigger flame. I just want to watch that for a second here. One more time.
It's heresy to say. When you talk about, you don't want to say this because I know it's heresy. It's heresy to say that the Father is not the creator of the universe 100%. But that's what you have to say to avoid contradiction. So why don't you say that?
No,
Why don't you say that the Father is not the creator? He is a partial creator. He is a 1/3 creator. He's a 33% creator. The Father is not fully responsible for the creation of the universe. Is that correct?
I don't think you understand causal overdetermination, Mr. Hijab. When two matches light a flame simultaneously or light a candle, they don't each contribute 50% to the lighting of the candle. They are each 100% sufficient for the effect, but they act concurrently with each other. And so in the act of creation, I see absolutely no problem with saying that there is a concurrence here of the action of the three persons of the Trinity to produce this creative effect.
Okay, so to respond to this very clearly, your candle example with overdetermination, causal overdetermination, it's disanalogous to what we are talking about. Why? If you have two candles that come together to light a flame, you will have a bigger flame, you see. There's sufficient condition. Yeah, all right.
It's Dawa in a nutshell. I don't understand what I'm talking about. I don't understand what I'm talking about, but neither do my fans understand what I'm talking about. And therefore, they're going to agree with me because I sound confident. Even though anyone who understands the words that were just spoken knows Hijab is a freaking idiot, at least on this topic. You don't know, he may be an idiot on other things, but right now he has no clue what he's talking about. But he would sound like he does to his fans. Anyway.
This is so ridiculously stupid, man. So incredibly stupid. And this guy is the best Muslim apologist, dude. Best Muslim apologist.
And, I mean, look at the look on Craig's face. It's like, does this guy seriously does he seriously think that's a response? Does he seriously not understand anything we're talking about right now?
Oh man.
You could say, hey, I like.
Actually, okay, Halal Prophet, Quran predicted the Big Bang. It just didn't know the Jews will do it to them. P.S. I seen Islamicize me and David, you would be a perfect Muslim. This is true. David would be a perfect Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Venus Emmy said, the CIA agent that created gangster rap, Eli Rapper. Yep, that's true. Eli Rapper. Meyer Lansky being blamed for hip slop is wild. This is true. Body Rabbit, Jewish Fae Black Fed Mafia is Palestinian. Clearly a Mensa mind deciphering the bar Spitzwa lyricism to bring us these dense truths. This is
Bar
true.
Spitzwa.
Bar Spitzwa. Hu Shintao said, AP to R. Waldis, buy your first book on Amazon, buy the Quran, then pee on it. Cenk hanged his head on wall so often his skull is visible and shining. It's really incredible, man, that this guy actually has an audience. Body Rabbit got his hands on my sheds. F and J are close enough for you to get it without YouTube's Fed Mafia catching on and planting explosive dreidels outside my house. Oh, yeah.
Dreidels.
Yeah.
As in Dr. Dreidel.
Dr. Dreidel.
And as in the song, Dreidel, 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 I made you out of clay. Dreidel, 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 with Dreidel I will play.
Candace has annoying, affluent sorority girl energy and it is so obnoxious. It's more than that.
But that is correct.
Yeah. But it's even more than that. It's worse. It's worse. One day, Cenk will be president of a halal pork company. Yes. If any of the pager terrorists got shaved down to 1.8 inches, would they become a type of Islamic saint? Just asking questions. This is actually an important question. I think we should ask this question to an Islamic scholar like Sheikh Asim al-Hakim, for example. He accepts questions sometimes live. You should go there and ask him this question. Buddy Rabbit, so is Cenk going to give that 20 million back to Katzenberg? Don't want to take that big media money from the JWA after all. Yeah, he should. He should. The Jews created gangster rap. The Jews created gangster rap. I don't know how many. Mike Winger just texted me, David. He says that the nerd store called and it wants its general manager back regarding your Jabba comment.
Well, that shouldn't bother them since Mike Winger's their biggest selling product.
Foxman Cloud, Mike Winger and David Wood have something in common. They both are Star Wars fans. This is true. They're both huge nerds of Star Wars. It's so
no, they're like 4 or 5 scenes I like in Star Wars. Other than that, bunch of nerd stuff. I liked where Yoda fought. Matter of fact, oh man, that's nerd story. And so that was what was that part 2? That was part 2 of the prequels or whatever. I went and saw that because Nabil wanted to go see it, so I went and saw that with Nabil, and he actually stood up and started applauding when Yoda started fighting with the lightsaber. And I'm like, dude, come on, sit down, man. You look like an idiot in here. Oh boy. Boy, he was the only one too. He was the only one up in the audience. I was standing up cheering. Anyway, that was so that was a real Star Wars nerd there.
Beast. Sheikh Yadik said, chunk yogurt makes me want to throw hands against my fellow man. Pray for me. Who's your fellow man?
Yeah, you don't need to throw hands. Just make fun of him at work. Mockery is pretty efficient.
It is. Unit Petsu says 2 billion people can't defeat 15 million people. Not natural. Well, they believe that one day the day will come. The day will come when we will kill the Jews.
I'm completely serious about this. I wonder how much this sinks in, because the Muhammad hijab poll that showed one of the things that caused Muslims to doubt that the religion is true is the weakness of the ummah. So as much as they thump their chests, and as much as in some people's minds it's, yes, Allah's just testing us and he wants us to keep dying by going against these guys, there is a significant portion of the ummah who will be significantly affected by this more and more over time. Like, why do we keep losing against this tiny little group that we're supposed to be exterminating?
Like Uma Thurman, yeah. It says here in for those who don't know, especially Israelis, Jews.
That would be a funny Muslim character, Uma.
Uma
Thurman.
The hadith says, David, why don't you read the hadith here for a second?
Abu Hurairah reported Allah's messenger as saying, the last hour would not come unless the Muslims will fight against the Jews, and the Muslims would kill them until the Jews would hide themselves behind a stone or a tree, and the stone or a tree would say, Muslim or the servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. But a tree, Gharchad, would not say, for it is the tree of the Jews.
Okay, and now read it again like a normal person.
No. You can't read this genocidal stuff in a normal voice. You have to sound like some spokesman of something.
Well, I'm experimenting with AI music right now. I actually tried to turn this into a country song. Let's see how that turned out.
The last hour would not come unless the Muslims will fight against the Jews, and the Muslims would kill them Till the Jews would hide themselves behind a stone or a tree, and a stone or a tree would say, Muslim, or the servant of the law, there is a Jew behind the column to kill them. But the tree our God would not say, for it is the tree of the Jews.
Not bad, not bad.
Not bad, not bad, not bad.
Not bad. Let's see.
The last hour would not come unless the Muslims will fight against the Jews. And the Muslims would kill them until the Jews would hide themselves behind a stone or a tree. And a stone or a tree would say, Muslim, or the servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. But the tree our God would not say, for it is the tree of the Jews.
Said the Garca tree, it ain't no snitch. What?
This one, I like this one much better. Much better.
No, I like the first one better.
Uh,
You just need a good chorus about the Garca tree not snitching.
I might need to turn this into. I might need to release a record of this or something. I don't know. Let's try something else.
We need a Garca tree costume for a skit.
Let's try something else. Let's see. Let's try a pop song. Let's try something like Taylor Swift. Let's see. Let's see if this works.
I have a kid to watch, and you're playing Taylor Swift AI nonsense.
This is important stuff, man. You can watch a kid at any time. Let's see.
The last hour will not come unless the Muslims will fight against the Jews, and the Muslims would kill them until the Jews would hide themselves behind a stone or a tree, and a stone or a tree would say, Muslim, or the servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. But the tree our God would not say, for it is the tree of the Jews.
Anyway, I hope this served a little bit to highlight what kind of messed up stuff Muhammad said according to Islamic sources.
But of course, Muhammad said that. Of course, it's the Jews. Look at what the Jews did to him. I didn't believe in him. Of course they had to kill them.
Yeah. Okay, I will play with this more later when I have the time. I should do some like death metal, as somebody just suggested. Yeah, Cenk, if the trajectory continues as it is, Conricus, excuse me, Cenk, but your phone is buzzing.
Yeah, look at the dude right now. Look at the dude right now and how he's looking. Like, pretty intimidating look, right? Can you imagine if Cenk's phone started buzzing right then?
Yeah,
like that, and he just goes, Cenk, answer your phone. Answer your phone.
Cenk, look at your pager.
Look at your pager, Cenk.
Something is beeping, Cenk. Something is beeping. And Wyckoff says, why should Assyria... Do you need to go, David? Do you need to go? Do you need to go?
Yeah, I need to go. We have no nurse tonight, so.
We got no nurse tonight, so I gotta go and watch my kids. Okay. Is there anything you want to say to the public?
Let's see. I was thinking maybe I'll hang out, but it looks like you got a bunch of super chats left.
I have 20 more to read.
Are you going to go through them quickly? You're going to take your time and
Wyckoff said, why should a serious person like Conricus be put on a panel with those two anti-Jewish numpties? Candace finally got quiet because she's in way over her head. This is true, very much.
That is, and if I'm hoping that she actually realized that, like, oh, I use my thing that I would normally say on Twitter and I would be cheered, and it just got shut down, and I ended up looking like an idiot in front of this guy. So maybe I'll just keep my mouth closed.
Yeah, give 2-hour answers to every super chat after complaining about the super chats.
That was 17 seconds. From the time you read it.
Said, is it true that Cenk stopped believing in Islam so he could freebase bacon grease? I'm just asking questions, guys. This is actually true. Yeah. One of the allegations is this. The other is also that he just likes to drink.
But But why is no one talking? Why is the media silent on this? Is
They're
it
trying to
because they're-
kill.
Are they worried?
Killing everyone who talks.
Are they worried about him becoming the next president?
Yes.
And retaliating?
Yes. Police watch fight inside a national mosque of Bangladesh called Baytul Mukarram, Religions of Peace at Work by Webi between Muslims. I shall look at that. Haven't been looking much at the Indian subcontinent.
Oh, I saw some picture. No, I think I saw some videos of that. Yeah, it's like they're on like different sides of the mosque fighting.
Well, that sounds interesting. Gotta check that out. If I was U.S. president, I would talk to Xi Jinping and exchange Cenk for any decent Uyghur in Xinjiang camps. I would even lower tariffs on China for this. It sounds actually like a good plan. Yeah, sounds like a good plan. Why not? Based Autistic said, "Hey, long time no super chat. Hey, what's up? Are you lying? I recently saw a super chat by you. Was busy with life and took a break from Islam, and then I come back and the clan handbook is called what? Also, you guys thought of covering John Spencer, expert in urban military conflict. Yep, John Spencer is something that I would like to actually make another separate live stream on. He is an expert in urban warfare and has analyzed Israel's war so far, and says that Israel is not only abiding by all the expectations, but also doing significantly better than expected in terms of avoiding civilian casualties and carrying out urban warfare. Better so than any other country in the history of urban warfare. So that's what he says. American guy. American expert on warfare. But any truth to indiscriminate killings of Palestinians by IDF before October 7th? Al Jazeera always makes claims as do pro-Palestine activists. No, there is a graph that is actually in existence, which you might find if you look at Israel-Palestine casualties before October 7, which will show you that every year there were a few hundred of people dying on the other side and a few dozen on the Israeli side, kept going back and forth. If you look into it, it's mostly directly fighting related and so on. That's not true. Magnifico Gigantus says, don't be jealous, AP. Candace is only guilty of being awesome. P.S. South Park Kyle did 9/11. You guys should react sometime. Inshallah, we'll do so, but I will ban you now for saying that Candace is awesome. Sunglasses and Knight said, do you think the Mexican Colombian cartels would appreciate new pagers, cell phones, and toaster ovens? They can call it Project Sombrero. You're welcome. Dude, this would be a human rights violation. It would be war crimes, genocide, literally, if you take out cartels. Tesbot, P.S. don't...
Oh, little side note, you do have to be wondering about who's going to take a page out of that playbook and try to send someone some cell phones or something in the future.
Yeah, I'm thinking of just ordering pages and sending them to random people and making them explode.
That would be based
through mind control, because that's how it works. Tesbot said, P.S. don't trust Al Jazeera. I think you missed a super chat limerick from someone.
No, you did the limerick earlier.
I did limerick. I never trust Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is a terrorist Qatari organization. A healthy snack. I only cited them to point out how even according to them, Hezbollah admits, and so on. A healthy snack said Jesus loves you. This is based.
It is totally based.
And Wyckoff said she's the most passive-aggressive liar I have ever seen, and me as well.
Little side note there, that ties into the Andrew Tate issue, and she's one of Tate's biggest defenders of Tate can be saying things for a decade and then just come in one day and say, oh, none of that ever happened, or it was so long ago it's too distant to remember, and she'll just repeat it and go along with it. But she's exactly the same. She'll be here's all this stuff, here's all this insane deranged stuff I'm saying over on these platforms, but I'm on Piers Morgan, so I'm not that kind of person. No, I'm a super serious serious journalist here. And then just pretend that we don't know all that stuff about her.
I just thought of something that I told you per message about Israel. Anyway, We'll probably get to that. Mumu Joe said, if Candace cares so much about innocent, why is she not talking about human shields, the women that raid their kids to be violent? If she cared, she would have talked about that. Candace just says whatever currently is in line with something that she wants to push without ever actually knowing the facts or caring about the facts. She is a horrible person. In fact, I would say that I rarely look at public figures and think, okay, this guy is genuine. This person is genuinely evil. I said this yesterday as I was listening to her say, I was to something else that she was saying, and I think she is, from my perspective, she's she is actually evil. She's messed up and evil. If there is evil out there, she is one of those. I don't see any redemption, any redeemable qualities at all. She is deliberately dishonest, ignorant when she knows it, but talks big, disregards the influence that she has, uses it for poisonous things, and so on. She's just absolutely horrible person. Jim Lunch said Candygram for Momo.
You don't know what that's from.
What is that?
That's from Blazing Saddles. The guy's name was Mongo, though. He's going, Candygram for... He didn't know how to beat this big giant guy, and so he showed up with a Candygram. Candygram for Mongo. Candygram for Mongo. And it blew up in his face.
That's funny.
Candygram for Momo is funny.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Leaked Hezbollah document says 1731 had reproductive organs either destroyed or permanently damaged. They had it coming, but they won't be coming anymore. Oh, shoosh. 1731 had reproductive organs either destroyed or permanently damaged.
I'm going to lose minutes of sleep over that. Minutes, ladies and gentlemen. That's how upset I am about
Avi Wasserman said Stu Peters had a dude on his show last year who said that Jews sank the Titanic with bombs to kill bankers who opposed the Federal Reserve and then sank the Titan sub to hide the evidence. Yeah, I will give you one. Most people have never thought about this, but how did the Titanic sink? It was sunk by an iceberg.
You see, Berg. That was even one of the rappers who started JWA.
Yeah. The Titanic was clearly sunk by the Jews, and specifically in this case by a Jew by the name of Iceberg. It's right there, and people are not noticing it. You see? You see? Stu Peters is a neo-Nazi, isn't he? He's a Nazi. D. Boudreaux, why hasn't Hayes liberated partly refugee camps within Lebanon? 80% live below poverty line. Restrictions on employment and property ownership. Hezbollah has turned Lebanon into complete darkness. In Lebanon currently, the poverty rate is about 50%, I think. And so more than 50% is below the poverty line. It is the second least happy country in the world, and so on. But their big problem, Israel, of course. That's how it goes. Zayn gifted 10 memberships and expanded the cult. Thank you so much. We are very close to taking over the world and establishing a new world order. Ayatollah Khamenei said, David, I will always cherish this gift you have given us. The image of you standing and applauding while Yoda is finishing with fighting with a lightsaber is amazing.
Yeah, and I'm going to cherish you shutting your mouth and not spreading these awful lies about me.
Alhamdulillah. Iceberg was the Jew. Finally, some people recognize it here. Michael
Straight out of
Feldman.
Compton, crazy Jewish rabbi named Iceberg.
AP, hell yeah. Mentioning John Spencer. By the way, he teaches urban warfare at West Point. That's true. That's true. I really wanted to get in touch with him and have a conversation with him. The guy is an expert, teaches at West Point. He is is that officially part of the military? Is it? I don't know. I don't know enough about it. Of the army, of the United States Army, where his branch, his institute. I don't know. But yeah, so he's a retired officer who is an expert on urban warfare, and he's doing a fantastic job on the whole Israel conflict. Bruh said, but the problem is, of course, that we have, on the one hand, you have an expert on urban warfare explaining what Israel is doing and how it's totally in line with the rules. On the other hand, you have people dancing on TikTok. Who are you going to trust? I will trust the dancing people on TikTok, obviously. Hi, AP and David Wood. I still can't believe Cenk and Candace are real people. Anyway, here's my jiznia. This is very, very.
Oh, wait a minute. They're not real human beings because one is black and the other is Turkish?
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, they're not real human beings according to you. What kind of viewers do you have?
That's what bro is saying. Alhamdulillah. All right. We're through the super chats, David. Are you happy now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then I'm gonna be here for a second more to I think I'm done with this. It's one very honorable guy. Jonathan Conrica is always worth watching. He is a brilliant voice for the IDF and Israel.
Could totally play in movies where he plays some serious military guy.
He could also kill you with his jaw, and he also has the yellow ribbon for the hostages to return. And on the other hand, you have this idiot here, Candace Owens, and this man-child here who acts like a 12-year-old but is actually in his 50s, I believe. Who also, by the way, looks like the Flintstone guy. He does look like him, doesn't he? Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, we know who the Flintstone guy is.
He looks exactly the same. And I'm the first to say it here. Everyone knows it is completely true. Literally same thing. Look at this. Look. You see? Alhamdulillah. And this is the power of Islam. Anyway, David. Actually, I'm going to leave too. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm going to be back with more music projects. Maybe we'll produce some awesome death metal Quran project.
Hey, we should make a Jewish version of Straight Outta Compton, called something else, Straight Out the Temple or something like that, and like have just be fully geared with the braids and everything. And others, we should make everyone from that little meme into real characters who do an awesome rap.
Hey, you know what's funny? I was thinking, I just said Quran death metal, but then I remembered that I actually did that already.
That sounds exactly like something you would do.
I actually did that already. So, David, if you want to stick around for a minute or so, or if you want to leave, it's up to you.
I do want to leave, but you can play it real quick, and I'll.
I actually did it already. Let's see if I can find it. It should be right here. Okay, right here.
That should be your intro music. That was pretty terrible.
So this was the first chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Fatiha, in death metal. I'm thinking of doing a whole. I should create a channel just for just for this kind of music. Anyway, all right, David.
All right,
let's head out.
Let's head out in it.
Alhamdulillah. All right, as always, have a fantastic day. And as they usually say, stay away.
Stay away from Islam.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب ولا ضالي.
Okay, enough. Listen to this goat here.
Stay away from Islam.